Hello, everybody. Welcome finally, to the very first episode of Die Party Fulcrum, a Mutants and Masterminds custom campaign. My name is Dave. We are finally playing for the very first time. God, we had like 3 weeks where we're just like, oh man, we're playing this week. Oh man, we're playing this week. And then just nothing happened. Because, you know...
Last week was my fault.
Yeah, we all blame Fuzzy. That's right.
Appropriately and correctly.
Yeah.
I slept through my alarm, big style. I think I turned it off without realizing, which is...
Yeah, it's a big no-no in the role-playing community to sleep through a game. But we're okay. Everything's fine. We finally got around to playing the first episode. I'm going to go around and introduce our players because, you know, that's what we do. First and foremost, let's get through the order on the list. Mr. Fuzzy, or Lady Fuzzy.
Mr. Fuzzy. Wait. I can do this.
Yeah. Sweet.
Hello. My name's Fuzzy.
Hello, Mr. Fuzzy.
Hello. Yes,
Mr. Fuzzy is my father.
I'm Master Fuzzy, his son, yes.
Talk to me about what you do and stuff and who your character is.
I talk shite on the internet for a living.
Nice.
While playing games.
Nailed it.
As you just realized, she is from the great land of the floating teabag. What else do you do? What type of stuff do you do on the stream?
Otherwise known as Brexit.
I'm currently Brexit.
The no longer United Kingdom.
Yeah, I'm currently right.
Wow.
Luckily, I ran off to Scotland, so that was good. But yeah, I'm currently sort of addicted to RimWorld because Alpha 14 comes out tomorrow.
Oh shit!
And I got a preview because I actually sort of grew some balls and tweeted at Tyne and Sylvester the dev and was like, I can have a preview.
So what you're saying is that you have a Rim job to review RimWorld.
Not the best RimWorld joke I've ever heard, but I'll give it a pity laugh.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I do. I play games and
I want to proposition something for you. Have you ever thought about doing things like playing that space game that's a top-down... Fuck, what's it called? Anyway.
That space game that's a top-down...
Yeah, top-down.
And a top-down what?
I've never heard of a top-down shooter space game ever.
And
that one game. That's a top-down... That one game.
And it's a roguelike. And you...
Oh, that one roguelike.
Faster Than Light. Shut the fuck up,
I was
Peachy.
about to say...
Dude, Faster Than Light was the first game I ever streamed.
So you do Faster Than Light, and then, you know, when your ship crashes or dies, you swap over to RimWorld. And then when you get off the RimWorld, you go back to Faster Than Light. Boom. Blew your mind.
It is entirely too early in the morning for Fuzzy to comprehend what you've just...
No. That's a good idea.
That's what
You
I'm
should
saying.
write it down so you can remember when you wake up.
Yeah.
No
So, moving on, we have Mr. Peachy Pixel 8. So, who are you?
Yeah, it's Dr. Peachy Pixel 8. I am a
Arts
legitimate
degree? Yeah?
Where's your
medical
fucking mustache?
doctor on the internet. So if you want to send me pictures of your rash, really shouldn't have said that because this is the internet and that would happen.
I mean, he has a Twitter account. It is physically possible.
And he does have previews for receiving unsolicited dick pics.
I have received more dick pics than boob pics on Twitter.
He's received more dick pics than I have.
I mean, it's nice to make a comparison, if I'm honest.
Is that
I know
a
where I am
challenge
on
to the
scale.
internet?
Sending dick pics isn't really a challenge to the internet, is it? That's just the internet.
I have a folder
if
on
you
my
search
desktop.
internet,
I can send you a bunch.
It's just Thursday on the internet.
it's just Thursday. Dick
I
day.
have a wonderful collection somewhere.
Thursday is. I stream everything, and I make terrible jokes.
Yeah. Oh, that's...
Can confirm.
I thought you were being serious. Right, was that a joke? Oh. Okay. I see what you mean by terrible jokes, yeah.
Next time I make a joke, I'll like give you the secret signal so you know. And then like the Big Bang Theory, everyone just laughs, and then the audience know when to laugh.
All
right,
Dave, have you got like
Really
canned
just
laughter
like
we can put on
laughing,
after? Can we fix this in post? Yeah.
You're putting way too much work on my shoulders. I don't appreciate that. Okay.
Look. Quality, okay? We're a quality show. We've got to like get the canned laughter going on, okay?
Speaking about someone who I appreciate, let's talk about Mr. Nightmare.
Hello everyone. I'm Nightmare. I also stream to like 3 people because I play World of Warcraft and no one cares about it.
You've picked a hard market to crack into.
You're gonna start bodybuilding. That's the only way you'll get good at streaming World of Warcraft. I think that's how it works, right?
Every time you die, right, you have to throw your body to the lifting gods and bench press something, do a set.
Yeah.
And grow a really huge beard. You don't have a beard, and you're not like, liable.
That's just the camera angle.
It's true. It's just a camera angle. So yeah, you can find all your shit over at what? Nightmare with a 3 and then instead of E.
And a K, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how to spell.
Yeah.
Well, like knight is in knight in shining armor.
Yeah.
Nightmare.
Anyways, speaking about the mayor of the group, let's talk about Kelsa. You'll get used to them eventually, Kelsa. My segues are the worst.
And by worst, you mean the best, right?
Subjective.
Don't let it go to his head.
Subjective.
Fantastic. I'm Kelsa. You can find me on Twitter at Kelsa. I stream on people's shows, either as a player or as a GM. The easiest way to find out when I'm going to be in a show is to follow me on Twitter, because I'm in a stream 5 nights a week. So, and sometimes by night, I mean day. And this is worldwide, so who even knows?
Who even knows?
Yeah.
I don't even remember the last time I slept.
Right? Oh my gosh. Anyway, I'm really looking forward to this. Like the idea of random superpowers. Woo, exciting.
Yeah, it's gonna be real good. And the man who's gonna tell us all about that is none other than me, Dave. Hey, how you doing? No, it's we're gonna go over to our GM, Game Master, Mr. Father, Dr. Wreckage.
Hi, everybody. Nothing to introduce over here. I'm going to let my GMing do the talking for me. So let's get into the game. We are playing Mutants and Masterminds 3rd edition. For those of you who want to follow along at home, you can get that PDF at DriveThruRPG or elsewhere.
Thanks for the money. Appreciate it.
It is a system that uses points to build incredibly diverse superpowers. And it is perfect for us because we are doing a story in the vein of Heroes, where our player characters are going to get powers. They're going to have no control over what those powers are. They're going to roll on a table. They're going to workshop them a bit, and they're going to be cool and fun, and it's all going to be great. And the first thing we're going to workshop as a group is our setting. All of our player characters have made real-life people who live and work in the same city. And this city, therefore, has to have all of the things that they do, which includes amateur wrestling as one of our characters. So what is this city called, my players?
Bootyville.
Brexitopia.
I mean, let's take a good long look at like history names for cities. Okay, we got Gotham. We've got whatever the one that Superman's in. Metropolis. Yep. We've got New York City, as is the favorite. And
It's too unbelievable.
It's too unbelievable. That one's we've got
I can't
New
believe that's a
York.
real place.
I don't know enough about New York City to set our game in New York City.
We've got
It's
New Orleans.
It might have something to do with the fact that
What's the most boring city we could have superhero shit? Seattle?
Swindon.
But we're going for a fictional city here. It's in America. It's gonna be previously existing, so that we can put whatever we need in it.
Not Seattle.
Not non-Seattle.
Can we
Not
take-
Seattle, not
All right.
Seattle. It's the halfway across the world. It's not even on the coast.
Little Mongolia.
Oh, God.
San Magnago.
Oh my
Large
gosh,
bill.
what if it's like a really stupid name like Moonbase 12, but it's
Oh, I got it. We got a
just a
really
city.
really stupid name. Let's call the city Canada.
So the
Cool.
game takes place in Canada City,
Yes.
in America.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that is something we can unanimously agree on.
No, that's terrible.
Oh, it's so good.
No, because then it
Okay.
opens up all kinds of like, no, I live in Canada. Really? No, Canada's it. What?
Yeah, I get that problem all the time. I live on Duluth. I live on a street named Duluth, and there's a city named Duluth nearby. So when I say I live on Duluth, they're like, "How do you live on a city?" Anyway, so now we're gonna
Never
move.
heard of that place ever. Can we actually go there instead, Duluth?
Duluth City. There we go. That's the name of the city.
Okay. Okay. Who wants it to be Canada City and who wants it to be Duluth City? This is we'll put it up to a popular vote.
How about no?
Well, I know what Canada is. I don't know what Duluth is. So if we're going full fish,
It's not in Canada, Dave. It's just named Canada. Already there's confusion. This is a brilliant idea.
I'm
Nothing could go wrong.
the big C city. All right. So who?
Oh
who
yeah, we could call it the Big C. That'll go down well.
Oh, love it. Love it.
All right, the big C.
So good.
All right, we're just in Canada City then. Canada.
All
City.
right.
We took
Canada
it. We
City
took it
because-
from
No,
the Canadians.
no, I can trigger Tumblr with the Big C. I'm down for Canada City.
So Canada City in America is the setting of our game.
Yep.
Now, before our players get superpowers, they are normal human beings who live and work in Canada City, and they all live on the same
I
block.
hate it.
Now, Mutants and Masterminds represents everything about a character, not just superpowers. So before our characters get superpowers, we're going to go through, introduce, throw it over to the person in general. They'll introduce their character, and then we will stat out their human stats that they have before they get superpowers. And we're going to be starting with Aubrey Vaughn.
That's me.
Tell us about your character, Aubrey.
Aubrey von Tinkletown.
Aubrey Vaughn is 25, and he is
Oh shit.
a small business owner. He has a like kitschy like antiques and knickknack shop in a gentrified part of downtown, where he sells like spirit crystals to weird hippies and imports from obscure countries and rings that are guaranteed to be over 100 years old without any paperwork supporting that. His entire he's the only employee of this store, you know, and it's got one of those things like the hours are like 11 to 4, 3 days a week, and then like you know, like
I close the shop when I want to. You know.
10 to 6 on the weekends, you know. Exactly. Sometimes it'll just be like a sign that's like, I went for a pokey walk. Whatever.
Tell me, I have a question for you. The first thing that comes to mind, how self-aware of the shit that you sell are you? Or is it something you actually believe in? Are you like, yeah, fucking mood crystals? Take away the bad energy.
He rides that line, like, between generally believing it and knowing how much shit it is. Like, he's like right there. He's like, all right, I know this is bullshit, but if I just believe a little bit harder.
I swear this crystal turned pink when I poured my energy into it.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Totally. He He's the kind of person that can lie to your face and have you not only believe him, but also think he's a better person for it.
And walk away $20 richer.
So let's then get into the very first facet of character creation in Mutants and Masterminds. Now, Mutants and Masterminds, like other systems, has ability scores. And in other systems where it might be strength, dex, con, whiz, Mutants and Masterminds has 8. The abilities are strength, fighting, stamina, intellect, agility, awareness, dexterity, and presence. Now, I'm going to lead Kelsa through statting out her character in these regards. The first thing to keep in mind is that there is a table in Mutants and Masterminds on page 55, ability benchmarks. And it sets that 0 for an ability is average adult. So an average adult human has 0 in all stats. Teenagers have -1. Above average in that stat is 1, etc. So for being normal humans without superpowers at this point, 2, maybe 3 is like the highest that we could possibly have here. And don't be afraid to give yourself -1 or -2 in something. It will increase your stats elsewhere later in the game. So your character, I'm assuming, probably doesn't have extra strength, I feel.
I don't think so. I think he's the kind of guy that does yoga regularly.
Okay. Well, yoga might give him some stamina or dexterity.
That's what I was thinking. Like, I don't think it's going to give him any extra strength.
Oh god, I realized this now. When you get superpowers, you're going to be like, yeah, my inner chi. And I'm going to be like, fucking no.
Right?
So nothing in... So 0 in strength, 0 in fighting, I assume. Doesn't take Tai Chi or something.
No.
All right, so stamina. He does yoga. I think we can argue that is 1 or 2 stamina. What do you think? 1 stamina?
I want to give him 2.
Okay.
For other various reasons.
Okay, he's stamina in this.
Yeah.
Now, intellect. I'm going to preface the question of intellect with his salesmanship would fall under presence in this system.
Yeah.
So that said, does he have in any way above average intellect?
I think so. Because he is an entrepreneur, he's managed to wisely make investments in order to get the capital necessary to buy this shop so that he can
All right.
basically sell 1 or 2 high-ticket items and stay in business.
I think that's certainly reasonable for a 1 in intellect.
I think so too.
Now, agility in this is separate from dexterity. Often those will be interchangeable terms in a system. Agility is literally speed. And ability to dodge also falls under agility. Dexterity is more like hand dexterity, literally.
Yeah.
So
I definitely feel that he is more dexterous than agile.
So give him a 0 in agility, or do you think he deserves a +1?
What did you do? Okay. Yeah, I think a 0 is acceptable there.
So right now, Kelsa is 00210, and this is the sort of thing that we're looking at for most of our characters today. So don't feel like you're underpowered or overpowered.
I was going to say it's possible that his agility might actually be a minus here.
You think he's slow?
Yeah, like he's methodical, and so I can see him being a little bit on the slow side.
Okay, so your character, who is a normal human, it gets a -1 because he's actually takes things easy and isn't very quick. How about awareness? Is he very aware of his surroundings? Does he genuinely think that he is spiritually aware of his surroundings? That is also relevant in this particular awareness stat.
I feel like he wants to be, but I'm not sure how much that actually translates to actually being. Like, I feel like I'm really on the fence between 0 and 1 here, is what I'm trying to say.
All right, I think at this point it's fair to give you a 1. You've given yourself a -1 in agility, putting you a little bit below curve. And we're coming over to dexterity that you said he's probably kind of good at. 1 or 2?
Definitely at least a 1.
Keeping in mind that you might want to save a big 2, maybe even argue for a 3 in presence.
Yeah, I'm trying to argue for a 3 in presence, and I'm willing to take awareness down to 0.
I would say a dex of 1 would be fair for a presence of 3.
Okay.
If you're a salesman.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Does presence include like looks and stuff?
Yep. Presence is the overall how capable you are of interacting with people. It is you walk into a room and your charisma and your beauty equal your presence in that room.
Cool. Yeah, he's pretty good. He's a pretty good looking dude.
So, in the spirit of shaking things up, I think we'll go to everyone else to do abilities, then come back to you to start skills.
Okay.
And then come back to you to do advantages after everybody does each of those things. So keep everybody talking and on camera. And so next is Tiffany Jones.
Mr. Black.
And you're muted, Tiffany.
I knew that. Hi. Numbers and things. Hello. Yes. Right. Where do we start?
By opening up your character sheet in the Roll20, and then introducing Tiffany Jones as a character to the audience.
Right. Now my character sheet. Where the fuck is my character sheet? Hang on.
You click on the little newspaper.
That was it.
It should be there.
New?
No, it should just be some random name. You just click on it. Should be
Tiffany
the only
Jones.
thing. It's the only thing in there.
It's Tiffany Jones.
I just see handouts.
If you don't see any handouts, then you might need to reload the page.
No, I see handouts. That's the only thing I see in there. Let me reload the page.
Remember,
Yeah, I see it now. Okay, I see it now. There you go.
Yep.
Never
All
mind.
right. All right. Minor technical difficulty, and we're back. So please introduce Tiffany Jones as a concept to the audience.
There's a concept.
Oh God. She's a librarian. She's probably going to be the hot librarian archetype because
Yeah. I hope you get hair powers.
I'm going to get some sort of really awful weird powers. But yeah, she's basically going to be like hot librarian because fuck it. But
7 presents.
everything in presence, everything else is just like she can't do shit, but she's really hot. No, I don't know. Yeah, it's just not particularly up her own ass or anything, but just like attractive librarian who's just really into books.
All right. A bookish, attractive librarian.
I have a question for you, Fuzzy. Are you the type of person where like you would... Okay, I'm imagining in my mind the porno that your character's in, right? And the porno that your character's in, it starts off with you like hiding and watching the guy that comes into your library every day to read books and being completely shy about it. No? Okay.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that her character isn't involved in pornos.
I know that. I'm just saying, like, the start of it. If you went
just
on...
the segue.
Incredibly
Watch it for the
attractive,
plot.
more interested in books.
Basically, no one mentioned porno in a while, and Dave got a little bit worried. He's trying to break the end of his thing back then. Okay.
Started panicking. So now that we're getting into stats, it's worth asking, like, she's actually good with books, or is she just airheaded?
No. Very good with books and things. It's like,
It's a stereotype that beautiful women aren't intelligent.
Yes.
So does she have above average strength?
No.
Does she have below average strength?
I'd say average. Well, she, humps sort of like heavy books and shit around, so I'm going to say average strength.
Okay. She doesn't take a self-defense class for fighting?
She could probably hit somebody very hard with a book, but no self-defense or anything.
All right, 0 there. Is she especially enduring stamina, high stamina for any reason?
No, not really.
All right, doesn't jog. All right, so 0, 0, 0, that's fine. That's actually perfectly average so far. But now we come to intellect. And I presume her bookishness allows her some increased intellect.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, I'd say sort of like she reads everything she can book. She's a crap librarian because she just basically spends too much time reading and not enough time actually doing librarian shit.
So would you say she's above average, well above average, or gifted?
I'd say well above average.
All right, so 2 in intellect.
Mm-hmm.
Is she particularly fast? Agility.
She does parkour when no one's looking. Yeah.
Parkers through the library.
Crazy.
No.
The
No
crazy library ladders, she's just like... whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Can't catch.
I like it.
Yeah, no.
All right, we're getting a no for there. So is she particularly slow, though? Is that minus, or is she just average?
Just average.
Okay. How aware is she of her surroundings? Now, her nose is always down in her book, but is she one of those librarians that is super into a book but still hears halfway across the library that someone's talking?
Yes.
All right. So is that like a 1 or a 2?
One, just a 1. Yeah.
Okay,
It's not
1 in
like
awareness.
superhumanly weird, it's just
How's her manual dexterity?
You can hear a homeless man jacking off from 3 rows. You know.
Gets the hose out.
The whip in the chair. Get out of the library. Fuck off.
All right. Is she particularly dexterous for any reason?
No.
And you said she's beautiful.
Actually, let's make her a bit of a klutz, actually. And give her -1 in dex.
All right. And now presence. You're beautiful. How beautiful are you?
Probably a 2, I'd say.
All right. So coming to the end of your abilities, you've got 0 in the first 3, 2 in int, 0, and then 1, -1, and then 2. I would say you're a little below curve. Is there anything in that you would want to increase to a 1 or to a 2 or to a 3?
Let's put the int up to 3 then.
All right, then. An int of 3, and that brings you still a tiny bit below Aubrey, but I think that's still manageable. Maybe you'll get more powers as a result.
Sweet. I hope you become like a papermancer, by the way.
Oh, Read or Die?
Yeah, Read or Die, yeah.
Great show. Literally, every single one of my friends that I've said I'm doing a superhero game to was like, I hope somebody gets the power to control paper like in Read or Die.
Yeah, no. If you guys have not seen Read or Die, go watch it. It is great.
A good anime.
It is great.
It's a really good anime.
So let's bring ourselves to the next character whose abilities we will be doing. Aaron Wright, who has renamed his character sheet the Spartan.
That's his wrestling persona.
His wrestling persona is the Spartan. Tell us about the amateur wrestler Aaron Wright.
So Aaron Wright has been his childhood dream to be a professional wrestler, and he has just now started recently in the last couple of years to actually follow that dream. He is, trying his best to make a big name for himself in the amateur wrestling league, and as you know, right now, it's a hard business to grow in, as the popularity of wrestling has died down, but his love for it has not.
Do you have like is there like a local like TV station that airs your stuff, or is it like you have to show up and drink beers kind of wrestling?
Well, so the way that in the real world, sort of the circuit up to WWE works is like there are many non-televised levels of wrestling that are actually just like come with tickets and watch.
Yeah, but this is the big C, mate.
Yeah. So how, I guess it would, like, are you at the NXT level, like where you're about to break it into the WWE? Are you one below that? Like, are you televised or are you untelevised?
I'm on like ESPN The Ocho. I am like on TV, but at 2:30 in the morning when no one's watching.
You're like
so I'm almost there.
You get your your belt, and then like an announcer like, up next, ping pong, and it's just like,
So yeah, I have a belt. It's made from a local trophy shop that no one knows.
the Big C heavyweight belt.
And the
lightweight?
heavyweight goes from like 100 pounds to 300 pounds.
What is it, like,
Because there's no wrestling.
Is it heavyweight or like
one division.
intercontinental?
It's
The
one
low-
one division because they just call it heavyweight.
The inter-county belt.
Yes.
I mean, are you heavyweight or are you cruiserweight?
I think he's 240, so I think he's actually heavyweight.
Okay, so you're a heavyweight wrestler, which is a good question to answer before we get into doing your abilities. I assume you have some strength.
Yes. I'm going to say he probably has above average strength.
All right, so just 1 in strength then? I guess it's like, are you fit, which would be 1, or are you jacked, which would be 2?
He's jacked, so he's definitely a 2.
All right, now fighting is actually what you do for your
Right.
profession.
Yeah.
How
It's not
good are you?
fighting, it's acting.
So his presence skill is like 5, right?
I've got a 0 in fighting, but I've got 3 in presence.
I'm going to put him at a 1 for fighting for now.
Okay, for now.
I mean, he knows how to throw a punch, but also how to throw a punch.
Yeah.
How's your stamina?
I'm going to say it's actually probably pretty good with how little people have to wrestle. I'm going to say I do a lot of running.
Okay, so is that a 1 or a 2 that you're going for there?
I think that one's going to be a 2.
Okie doke.
Hardest working wrestler in the Intersea.
Yes.
The int, I assume, is average.
Average or -1.
Are you ready, brother?
Yeah, I say he graduated high school, and that's about it. That's all he can really say for himself.
Okay, let's leave it as 0 for now. I think as we progress, in order to keep you even keel with the others so far, you already have 2, 1, 2. We might have to make that a -1.
Yeah.
So agility, how just fast is he? Just speed?
None. Not really.
Average? Okay.
Yeah, average.
So he's not,
Right.
he's not a luchador. He's not wrestling by running all through everybody. How's his awareness, both physically and like emotionally? Like, how aware is he of his surroundings?
Is that crabby? I'm going to say he's just average there.
All right, average. Now, dexterity is something that might be relevant. How good is he in that?
A 1 for now. Like I said, he's going to have to probably lose some stats.
Actually, no. With just a 1 in dex, and also let's come to presence. He's an actor. Is
Yeah.
he really good at acting a role? Like, how much presence do you think he needs to do the actual showmanship of the inter-county big C heavyweight division belt?
I think for the big C, I think he only needs a 1 for there. Doesn't need to be too
That
big.
puts you exactly even with Aubrey. So we don't actually need to give you -1 in int, unless you want to increase something that is currently like we can give you -1 in int to increase something else at this point if you want.
Yeah, I'd say let's do the -1 in int so I can get the 2 in fighting.
2 in fighting. Okay. So those are your abilities. 2, 2, 2, -1, 0, 0, 1, 1.
Jesus Christ, that's like a phone number.
Do not call that phone number and harass them, internet, please.
How do you dial -1 on the phone?
Do it.
So let's hop over.
Probably a sex line, let's face it.
Let's hop over to our next character, doing abilities, Dirk Peck's Meat.
Right. I want to come in straight in with the minus here.
All right.
Strength -2.
Now, hold on a second. First of all, introduce your character to the audience.
My character is Dirk Pecksmeat. He's a total IT nerd. He works in like I don't know, like a conglomerate in the basement somewhere. People don't know how to send emails.
Superputer. That's where you work.
Super where?
Superputer.
I don't get the joke.
It's not a joke. Superputer.
Is this another porn thing with the pooters and?
Yes.
Do you know what? Just
No,
don't.
right. Okay, I'm with you.
Level.
I'm with you. I'm on the same page. He's a total nerd. He likes to play D&D. He paints Warcraft models. His first love was a Commodore 64.
The car?
No, the video game. You know what? I'm not even gonna.
I had a Commodore 64, the motherfucking tape drive, bitch.
So, you've suggested already a -2 in strength, which
Oh, yeah.
is child, elderly, or impaired.
Yes.
Is there a particular impairment that makes you weaker, or is it just that you have not attempted to be strengthy at all?
Like, if he plays Pokemon Go, he's using incense. He doesn't even go out to the Pokestop. You know
All
what I'm
right.
saying? You will take a taxi to get more Pokeballs.
All right, so he's an incredibly low activity individual, which has given him -2 strength. How about fighting?
Fighting, I kind of want to go in with terrified of fighting. Can I go lower than a -2?
No, actually, because
Or can we do video games? Because he's probably pretty good at like StarCraft.
so the effect here, right, is comparing to average. So the average person actually isn't particularly good at fighting. I will say that he can definitely be -1 or even -2. But like what you're looking at there is in the -2 range. You're looking at that literally like the slap fight.
Yeah, if he ever got into a fight, if someone got him into a corner they had to fight, he would be giving it this. Definitely.
All right. So we're at -2 for Dirk Peck's meat.
Okay, I want to jump to presents now.
Okay, we're gonna jump to presents.
+5.
It's unorthodox, but I'll allow it.
I mean, the most interaction he has with humans is either his mum, because he lives in his mum's basement, or people on forums. So, I mean, in general, his presence is going to be
Huge, right?
slightly below average, I reckon.
Okay.
Maybe a
Is
one.
he gonna be? Is he gonna be
-1.
what? Is he a milady?
So we're already at
Milady.
-4 total, which
Yeah.
puts you in the hole as much as everybody else is above the hole.
Mhm.
So keep that in mind as we move back to stamina. Now, does he have any endurance, say, for any reason that is...
I mean, he does masturbate quite a lot.
yeah,
So that
Hold
brings his
it.
stamina up to about average, I reckon.
Average.
A 0.
A 0
Okay,
in stamina.
And one arm at least.
But intellect, surely he has quite a lot of intellect as a result of everything
Pretty
else.
clever. I would say above average.
Like a 1.
I mean, if you want your guy, I certainly will allow you to have someone who is coming into the game well below average in stats over the course of everything. But surely he's at least a 2 in int if he's in IT.
Okay, yeah. Go for a 2 in int.
How fast is he?
I think he's pretty fast. He just can't run for a very long time, but he's like a whippet. He's like...
He's a short distance
He
sprinter.
can run away from like if a moth comes into his room, bam, he's like in the kitchen. before-
Gotcha.
Like asking his mum for
Yeah.
tendies and his dad to kill them off.
Yeah. You know,
How-
he probably
how-
needs like half an hour to recover from that sprint, but
How aware is he? How in
Fairly
a-
aware, maybe a 1.
okay, above
Bit more
average
than-
a little bit.
bit more than average.
Okay. You're actually up to 0 now. You're exactly 0 now across the board, going into dexterity. Now, dexterity would include his
APM.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm 0 across the board. What is everyone else?
Everyone else is Aubrey and the Spartan have 14 points spent on their stats, which is not the it doesn't 1-to-1. Number 2 in a stat costs more than number 1.
How high can I go in dex here?
So I would allow you to go. Let's see. What's 4? 4 is highly gifted. If you are a professionally competitive StarCraft player, I would allow
His
you to have.
APM is off the charts.
His
And
APM is off the
Pyramid
charts.
Army looks beautiful, man.
So I'll let you be 4, which will bring you to just below Tiffany in overall power level.
I'm just imagining someone who can literally see like a bow, like an arrow shot out of a bow, like in slow motion, but he can't move fast enough to get out of the way.
I'm going to point out to the excitement of our audience that later in the game, firing guns goes off of dexterity.
Peachy
So-
Pixel is min-maxing the shit out of his character right now.
So our
That's why I went straight in with a minus, son. I've played games before.
our StarCraft 2 player has a very high APM. Diva would be jealous. So that brings us to our next character's abilities. Sydney Joshua. Why don't you introduce your character concept to the folks at home, and then we'll go into your abilities.
So Sydney Joshua is... He's an interesting character, because at first I'm just like... the moment this game came up, I'm just like, Wreckage, can I be a firefighter? And Wreckage was like, yes. I'm like, okay. And that's about as far as it went. And I started thinking a little bit more on it, and I like the idea of him being like... I mean, everyone knows this person, right? The one guy that's like... He's socially acceptable. He matches all the standards for social interactions and all that sort of stuff. But at the same time, he's just kind of like, when people are like, hey, man, let's go hit up the clubs. And he'd be like, I'm not really feeling it tonight, you know? I'm just going to catch up on my sleep. Wash my hair. You know, that guy. Everyone knows that guy, right? I'm probably that guy. That's probably why I'm here. But,
Scathing, low blow to everybody involved.
it's also 2 a.m.
2 or 3 parties that you did not go to, and then you like walked outside and realized there was a block cart party going on.
Yeah, he's like,
I guess I'll stay here.
Yeah, he's the type of guy to do the Irish goodbye. You know, like where he's just had enough of the parties, he's just gonna sneak off. You know, but he is a well-adjusted social person in that regard. He's a firefighter. He is the type of person who was like, you know, maybe he didn't want to be on the front line as a cop, but he wanted to still help people. And, you know, firefighter was right up his alley. He's,
Yeah, but what kind of porn is he into?
Do not answer that question. Instead, let's answer the questions about his abilities.
okay.
German porn.
It's probably something really awful.
Ew. Fetish of humans.
So, you're a firefighter.
Yes.
A firefighter has to physically be able to carry people out of buildings. He has to be able to swing an axe and knock down doors. So, how much strength do you have?
I was thinking that he has above strength, but he probably wouldn't be above a 1.
All right, I would say that you could argue 2 or 3, but we'll keep it at 1 for now.
2 or 3? Okay.
You could say that because, like, firefighters are far and away incredibly physically fit, but they also have things like stamina and awareness. So you may choose to put those points more out of those.
Yeah.
Now, firefighters are not trained in any sort of fighting, but do you, as a character, for any reason, have more knowledge than the average person? Do you take a self-defense?
I mean, the only thing that I would argue is that maybe they do boxing as fitness, but other than that, it's like...
If you want to do that, you can get a 1, no problem.
We'll keep it 0. Oh, we'll keep it 1. Fuck it. Yeah, 1 will be fine. Yeah.
All right, now stamina. Firefighters...
Yeah, I'm thinking a 2, probably.
Yeah, firefighters wear those heavy coats and go in and out of burning buildings for hours until the flames are under control. They are incredibly stamina full.
So I'm thinking intellect and agility are at base.
Okay.
I'm thinking
0s.
I'm thinking awareness is like a 3.
So you're thinking that your firefighter is particularly like he goes into a building and hears the crying baby through the roar of flames.
Yeah, and also he can like he looks at a situation like a particularly bad situation, and then he just sort of goes, "I'm not going to go that way because that beam looks like it's going to fall down any minute now."
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, with an awareness of 3, that puts you at the same level as Aubrey and Spartan. Do you want Dex and Presence to be 0, or do we want to take a point from elsewhere to do something for them?
I mean, what is it? So you're gonna have to excuse me. Like, at a -1 for Dex and agility, what does that look like in terms of the human scale?
The human scale for a -1 in something is below average or teenager. So it's average for a teenager, below average for the average adult.
And what is agility? Where does that factor into things?
You would be slow. You would be not quick.
Okay. In that case, take 1 out of fighting, put it into presence.
All right. And why do you feel you have presence? You sort of mentioned him as being socially awkward.
Well, I mean, he's not socially awkward. He just doesn't like to... He's not a very outgoing person when it comes to social activities and norms.
Yeah,
and
I
stuff.
didn't get the impression of being socially awkward so much as being like a popular introvert.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, a popular introvert. Now that does all of our abilities for everybody. So we're gonna wrap it back over to Aubrey and introduce skills. Skills are the next thing that build a character that aren't powers. And the important thing to note with skills is that some of them you can do if you don't have any points in them. They are the ones that are called untrained. Some of them you can only do if you have a point in them. An example is that you can do an untrained athletics check to check your balance, but you cannot do an untrained like medicine check. So you need to know medicine to even attempt to do some of it. So Aubrey, we're gonna go. You can see the skills over on the right of your character sheet. The first one is acrobatics. You see the rest of them there.
Yes, I marked the ones that I thought I wanted to have, and with in the other column, and marked the ones that I thought were absolutely imperative with 2.
How many points do we get for this sort of stuff?
Yeah, that's what I was not sure about. Like, I think that his persuasion, deception, and like expertise antiquing are like super important.
Is antiquing mean like finding things to buy?
Yeah, like finding and appraising antique objects.
Okay. I see that so that is a very good thing that she did. She put them in the other because in the other box it doesn't calculate power points. So once I put ranks in, I'll know what the difference was. So what you're saying is that you don't feel that you have acrobatics, athletics, or close combat, correct?
No, not at all.
You do feel that you have deception because you are sort of conning people into their purchases, and okay. I would strongly agree that you have you can have a 2 in deception. I would also agree that you have at least a 1 in antiquing and business. We'll start with that, and we'll bump it up to 2 later if everything else is sort of low. You've decided that you have insight. Now, insight in this system is, if I recall correctly, the ability to tell what other people are feeling by paying attention to body language and inflection, which would be very useful for a businessman. So I'm going to say that, yes, you can have 1 in that. Investigation's interesting. Why do you think you have investigation?
Doing my own taxes, going through like the histories of.
You could have just left it at doing your own taxes, and everyone would be like, okay.
I mean, yeah totally. Like it's all the paperwork aspect of running a business.
Now, I'm going to say no to that, and the reason why is because in Mutants and Masterminds, investigation is not just like the word investigation. It actually means specifically know how to search for and study clues, gather information through interviews and surveillance, analyze evidence to help solve crimes. So it is
like
it's that last part, like to help solve crimes. It doesn't really apply, but I think gathering clues is definitely something. But
I'm not going to say that your character can't have investigation, but I will say that in no way do you need to have the ability to parse a mountain of clues to do your taxes. In fact, with TurboTax, it's easier than ever. www.turbotax.com.
Thanks for the money.
Well, that's what I was saying. That's why I didn't stop at just taxes. But, being able to kind of go through, like, hearing a rumor about an item that, like, getting people to be like, okay, I want an item like this.
So what I will say is I will say that you could do a research expertise and put 1 in that.
I'll take that.
All right. So we're going to do a research expertise and not an investigation because this system is very specific about what investigation means.
Totally fine.
And that's something that I bring up because I feel like our librarian may also end up with a research expertise of some persuasion. Speaking of persuasion, the next thing that you have, that you believe that you have, is persuasion. Is there any reason, like, let's just quickly say, obviously you didn't have intimidation. You didn't put anything in that. Is there a reason that you feel that you don't have any perception? keeping in mind that 0 is average again, so like you don't need to say no, I'm just normal in it.
He might have some perception, but it wasn't like on my list of important skills.
Okay.
Like, in my mind for the character, like I feel like he's
We'll come back to that because you do
fairly
want
persuasive. He might have a 1 in that.
you do want 2 persuasion, which I think is definitely is applicable right up there with deception. Those are 2 sides of the same coin here.
Mm-hmm.
No ranged combat. That makes sense. If any of your characters wanted ranged combat, they would have to be regulars at the paintball field or at the amateur marksman shooting gallery.
Or be a
that sort
cop.
of thing.
I mean, I
or be a
own a
cop
lot
or
of
be-
Nerf guns.
Yeah, I
Just
don't think I
saying.
have any ranged combat. Sleight of hand.
I mean, I'll give you a skill in Nerf guns, but it won't apply to real guns later. So
Right.
no sleight of hand and no stealth. Those make sense. No above average in technology or
Yeah.
medicine or vehicles, and those are the skills.
Mhm.
That's the full list of skills. And so you feel that this is an accurate representation of your character presently?
Technology maybe. Like I didn't look through fully what technology would give me.
So I'll give you an example. A 0 in technology is, hey, son, come fix my computer. A 1 is, I will figure out what is wrong with my computer myself.
Okay, let's give me a 1 in that.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I think his Google Foo is strong.
Now, it's also like skills are incredibly cheap to buy in this system. They factor in quite well when they're relevant, but also the system assumes that you will be using powers to solve a lot of problems. So we may later come back and decide that we have underestimated skills, but that'd be like a session 2 thing. Like, oh, actually, like we're way under on skills.
I just listed them as 1 and 2 because I wasn't sure how many points we would have to kind of throw around, and basically like the 2s were the absolutely must have, get as many points as applicable.
And as we stat out powers later, that'll especially be the point where we come back and say, actually, I have a crap ton of like curve left over on my character, right? Like I'm below curve on everybody else right now. So I will come to you and say, well, do you want to increase your abilities or your skills or what have you?
Okay, cool.
So now let's move on to the next person. Tiffany.
Hello.
So your skills are on the right there on your character sheet. Let's go through them. Do you think that you have any acrobatics or athletics more than the normal person?
No.
All right. I assume you don't know any close combat because we asked before if you did like self-defense and you didn't. Are you a good liar?
Not particularly, no.
Okay, now it's where it gets interesting. You have, at the very least, expertise librarian, because you are a librarian.
Yes.
I spelled librarian wrong, but autocorrect fixed that for me. And I also suggest something like research, whatever you feel is appropriate here. What sorts of things? And expertise is like, I can actually do this as a job, because I'm good at it in that way.
I think sorry, I'm slightly distracted by chat right now.
Chat's very distracting.
Yes. Say that again because I just do it down for a second.
So expertise is 4 boxes there for expertise because you can fill in whatever you want. And so you have librarian because that's your job, but anything else that you could do as a job because you have professional
Gardening.
gardening.
Really good at gardening and plant care.
All right, gardening, you're allowed to have that. How do you feel about research? As a librarian, do you have a professional level of research?
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you feel would go in that 4th box?
Can't think of anything right now, no.
Okay. Insight is your ability to read other people. Do you have any of that above average?
I'd say slightly above average, so like 1 sort of in that or whatever.
Okay. Do you have any ability to intimidate people? Like, are people actually scared of getting you mad in your library?
Yeah, she can definitely do the librarian stare. She's got the look.
All right. Now we sort of described the difference between research and investigation earlier. Investigation's actually actually looking through clues and putting together a mystery. Are you any good at that?
Yes.
All right. 1 or 2?
I'd say 2.
Okay.
You know, sort of like librarian. You have to go to college to be a librarian. I'm sure she did something like thesis shit and stuff. So.
How's your perception?
Let's say a 1, maybe.
Okay. How's your persuasion?
I'd say 1 as well, just based purely on the fact she's quite attractive. So.
Sure.
You know.
I assume your character doesn't spend any extra time at the paintball field. Probably doesn't have any ranged combat.
No.
How about sleight of hand? And you'd have to be an amateur magician to get a skill in this, or a thief.
No.
What about hiding 50 Shades of Grey on the bus? Is that sleight of hand?
Have you seen the prose in that book? It's awful. No way. There's no way he would fucking read that.
She actually has taste, is the point.
Yeah, she's Mills and Boone, okay, all the way.
All right. How about stealth?
Mills and Boone.
Stealth. Yeah, give her like a 1 in stealth because librarian.
Okay, she's like, people are sitting there making noise, and all of a sudden, thwap on the table. Like, shut up.
But it's not thwap. It's just.
Oh yes, it's the clear throat. Technology. Is she very old-fashioned with her books, or does she also come into the modern era with?
I'd say she'd probably get a 1 in technology as well. Because fucking you've got to be able to use computers in a library now.
Do you know medicine for any reason?
No.
And are you extra good with a vehicle for any reason?
No.
All right. So, you come out to just about the exact same point as Aubrey once again with your skills. So we're all on even keel here. You've got some very interesting skills, and gardening might come up if you get poison ivy powers.
If you get poison ivy powers, big if
Yeah.
there.
If.
Yeah.
I mean, you
Well,
never know.
Yeah, what I'll probably get is the power to like destroy
That I
plants.
would like to fight for before I forget, because I did forget, but I was like going back through and looking at that thing I sent you.
Uh-huh.
I petition for a 1 skill point in ranged weapon disc golf.
Right. Okay.
Jesus
Fine.
Christ.
That'll
throwing
never come
shit-
up.
Well,
It
unless
will
she becomes
absolutely-
Captain America, you know.
Oh God! If you get a shield, yeah. Okay. If you get Captain America's shield and a random power generator, disc golf will allow you to decapitate dudes' heads. So let's bring it over to the Spartan for skills. Have you been following along?
Yes, I have.
So do you
So-
think you can speed up this process a little bit?
Yeah.
So acrobatics, if you ever
Yes,
do
that-
any like off the rings, what is it?
Oh, yeah.
Off the ropes?
After ropes.
The ropes, yeah.
Yeah, you'd have a little bit of that. So how are you feeling about acrobatics?
Plus, I'm not sure. If you said it's just like the normal stats, so I'm going to say a +2 on this one.
Okay. Athletics. Now this is literally just basic bodily awareness, so you definitely have some of this.
Yeah. I'm going to say another probably 2 on that one.
Now for you, you're going to have expertise amateur wrestler.
Yeah.
That's going to happen no matter what because it's your job. But the other thing that you can fill out is close combat. We've just been glossing over that for everybody else. But later on, there'll be some advantages that allow you to do chokeholds and stuff, and we're going to give your character those as well. But if you want to say, wrestling in close combat, if you know other things beyond wrestling, what sorts of things do you think belong here?
Definitely boxing and just grappling. I can't really think of.
So let's do
Maybe.
grappling and boxing as close combat things that you are capable of.
And maybe improvised weapons, the chair.
Oh
ladder.
yeah.
Do
I
you
like that.
do you actually go for the latter a lot? Because improvised weapons is something that definitely goes on close combat.
Is it?
Yeah.
I'm going to say I specialize in the chair.
All right, you go for the. He's going for the chair.
Like you go into the crowd and you take people's chairs. That's how you work a crowd. You like get this guy's chair and then he has to stand up for the next 4 hours.
You grab the mic out of the ref's hand and says, "I need a chair," and chairs just start getting thrown into the
In the ring.
I'm like the two people watching. Yeah.
You got two really diehard fans that just start tossing chairs in. Do you have any
They
deception?
turn up with extra chairs just for you.
Yeah.
And a ladder, just in case.
Yeah. I'm gonna say deception 1 because it is all an act.
Okay, it's all an act. So deception 1. You have expertise, amateur wrestler. Is there any other profession you're capable of doing?
Physical trainer.
Like yeah, if you
trainer.
if you've actually have experience in that.
Yeah, I would say for sure.
All right, so you also, I'm sure that'll be relevant in this game.
Maybe your backstory was that you used to come in here and do like physical therapy on these guys, but then they're like, "We need another wrestler. You put on the leotard," and you're like, "Okay."
And it just took off from there.
Yeah.
You found a passion for amateur wrestling. What's your insight like? Now, this is reading other people again. This is your ability to, it's like an awareness thing, but it's more like I have insight into a situation or a person.
I'd only say possibly 1 because I need to communicate with my other wrestler. Like, all right, we're doing this move next.
Oh, so like unspoken improvisation.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something that comes up in that sort of thing.
Just 1.
So how about intimidation? You have some of that.
Yeah, just my sheer physical size would give me 1.
Okay. I'm gonna say no to investigation.
No, no, definitely not.
And I'm a little iffy on perception and persuasion, but how do you feel about those?
Nah,
Okay.
probably not.
You don't know any range combat. You don't go down to the paintball, the place.
No.
Sleight of hand, stealth, technology,
There's
medicine.
nothing subtle about a chair, so no.
Yeah, I think you're all zeros down to the bottom here.
Yeah.
All right, so that only puts you slightly above curve, which I'm fine with because everything that we've said here makes perfect sense. I feel like I feel like physical trainer doesn't actually wreck the curve in any way. It probably won't come up. But you never know. It could be like, I pulled a hammy. And you can roll physical trainer to know the exact exercise you need.
I pulled my super legs. Can you give me a super massage?
I have a super Charlie horse.
All
right.
You're immune to damage and pain, but you have a Charlie horse. Can you imagine how bad that would be? If you could feel that shit, it'd be like...
Dirk Pecksmeat. You're going to have some interesting skills because of your profession. But I assume no acrobatics, athletics, or close combat.
No, none of that.
Deception? Can he lie?
I doubt he's very good at lying. I think he folds under pressure.
All right. So your first expertise is obviously IT. You can do that. What else, though? What else do you want to put in actual things you can do professionally?
I mean, he can probably build stuff. He probably tried to get on
Like PC building or like BattleBots?
well, yeah, like BattleBots. He probably tried to get on BattleBots, but he just couldn't get in front of the cameras, kind of deal.
All right. So mechanics is something that I'll definitely be able to give you.
Not like smaller parts rather than building a truck or something.
Right.
That a
But
different skill, or I guess it's transferable.
the guy who can build a robot can also, like, he may not know specifically how to build a car, but he could be able to do it. You know what I mean? Like, he would just have to be like, oh, you just replace this. Well, I know how to do that.
Makes sense.
Any other expertise? Like, do you actually want to put pro video gamer?
I mean, he probably is third in the world for duck hunt.
Okay. I'm going to put professional. I'm going to put pro gamer there. I'm not going to say pro duck hunt player. I'm going to throw
like
you.
all other games, not so much. Duck hunt, he's on that shit.
All right. How is he at reading?
5 people.
Does this have anything to do with your collection of retro consoles, Peachy?
I don't know what you're talking about.
There is no stack of retro consoles behind the green screen.
Nope.
How
Not
is
at
your?
all.
Are they on a shelf or nicely displayed? They
Don't
are.
talk
aren't they?
about it.
Yeah.
Moving on. So insight.
How is your character at reading situations or people?
I guess he's just average at that. I don't think he's any
Intimidation.
No.
Okay. Investigation, putting clues together. Like, he's an IT guy. He does have to solve the mystery of what's wrong with a computer.
Diagnosing
I can
is
see that
that
skill in that.
investigation? Yeah.
Yeah, that's a little bit more like, as opposed to taxes, which is more of a like research how to do taxes. This is more of a what is wrong with this machine. I will follow the clues, and it is actually
there's a dead cat in there. That would probably be the reason why it's not working.
Probably.
How about generalized perception?
Full of spiders. Oh my god.
No, I wouldn't say he's too special at perception.
Persuasion.
Again, no way.
I mean, he persuaded his parents to let him live there forever.
All right.
So
Do you actually want the ranged combat skill Nerf gun?
Yes, I do.
All right.
More than life itself.
Nerf guns. You have a point in it. No problem.
So maybe he's holding a Nerf gun when the Nazi moon laser beam hits, and
it's
becomes
not a
super...
Nazi moon laser beam that gives you powers.
God damn it.
Nazi moon laser beam confirmed.
All right. Sleight of hand. Does he ever practice
I think
card magic?
I think he's tried to do that to impress girls because he can't do it off his looks and he can't chat them up. So he's probably tried a bit of magic.
Please, no, it's not that, dude. It's not that. It's you trying to do shuffle, like stacking your deck in Magic the Gathering.
That's exactly what it is.
All
That's
right.
exactly what it is.
Just because of Dave's reasoning, I'm gonna bump that up higher than it had it.
You just like maybe like you occasionally look down to like stack your deck full of land that you need for your opening hand. You just like, here we go.
Look, kids at home. Always cut your opponent's deck. I don't care if it doesn't look like they know.
There was
sleight of hand.
actually a guy who used magic tricks in Magic the Gathering to cheat because when they cut the other person's deck, he would flood their hands with land.
Oh, that bastard!
And that's what he would do. So every time he had to mulligan because he had too much land. He would mulligan down to like 4, like every time it would happen, like consistently to every single person he played with. So there you go. It's a thing you can actually do in Magic the Gathering.
Also, kids at home, if you're gonna cheat, don't do it every single time. They get back to you if you're doing it every single time.
Well, I say that, but he did it in all the like high level games, the ones that were like recorded. So, you know,
all right,
they were important. But yeah.
Now I think you could argue that your character has some stealth.
Yeah, he probably hid from plenty of bullies.
All right,
because he has to walk to the taco stand, and there's a lot of kids that sit on the park benches.
Now, how crazy high do you want his technology? Like, how really good is he at his job?
I think he's super good at his job because he just gets in the zone. Like he's been writing programs since he had his Commodore 64.
All right, I can bring you up to 5 in that, and you're
Holy
still
shit.
below everybody else in score. So,
Can we go for vehicles then? Because I reckon he lives with his mum. He saved a lot of money, and he's bought like a stupid, ridiculous-looking vehicle.
Okay.
Like your mother's like, when are you moving out? It's like, oh, not for a while. I just bought a fucking
car,
new
yeah.
BMW. Yeah.
Let me stabilize on
Probably
these car
third
payments
car.
first, Mom.
God, you're a piece
All right.
of shit, Pixel. God damn it.
In fact, I can give you 2 in vehicles, and you'll still be, and that'll bring you almost flush with some of our higher people right now. So you're actually doing pretty good in the things that you're good at. And
I've played games before.
I mean, you're min-maxing better than Dave, who's usually our resident min-maxer. But I feel it's also true as a representation of a human that nerds are min-maxed. They are very focused on their hobby or their passion, and then they don't do anything else.
Mhm.
So it makes sense, actually, when you're making a nerd, that they would end up being a min-maxer. And speaking of things that sometimes are min-maxed, we go to our final player character for skills, Sydney Joshua, the firefighter.
What up? So I don't know how many points I have to float around. So I've got.
But you farted around with some.
1.
Makes sense.
I put close combat melee, but I want to I don't know if we need to stipulate further because it's not melee against people; it's melee against objects.
So what I will give you for close combat is
Like axe. I don't know.
no, I'll give you there's in Fallout, isn't there a skill that literally means your ability to break objects?
Something like that.
like a single word. I'm trying to think here. Demolition.
Controlled
I feel that.
demolition? Yeah, okay, that works. Yeah, I'm okay with that.
I'll give you 2 in that. No problem.
Yeah,
Uh,
okay.
Uh,
So I put my points in other. Do you want me to remove them as well?
no, I'll don't worry about that.
Okay.
Other doesn't calculate on auto rolls, so
Oh.
we can remove them later. It's not that big of a deal.
Okay.
So can he lie at all? You put nothing there for that, so no lying.
Yeah, I'm also thinking, like, as I mentioned earlier, like boxing and stuff, but I don't
Yeah,
know.
we didn't. We ended up not doing that. So I mean, you
for
can.
fighting. Like, I mean, I don't have to have points in fighting the ability, but I was thinking putting it in as a skill.
Sure.
I don't know. I mean, we'll come back to it. I don't see him being that type of firefighter, but
Do you have any other expertises besides firefighter?
Are you really good at skipping? Because, training.
yeah, that's probably true. I don't know. Like, I don't think so. I think it was kind of something he always wanted to do.
Okay, so he was always just firefighter. He didn't. get
Maybe
any other
maybe
jobs.
in like high school or whatever, he was like football or something. I don't know, but probably not.
All right. The next thing you have is perception. Absolutely, can have that.
Yeah.
And then you do nothing until vehicles, which puts you quite below. It puts you a little below curve, actually. So I'm going to suggest that as a firefighter, and this is definitely true, you do know first aid.
Yeah,
You
that's what
are
I was
a-
thinking. I wanted to ask you about that though, because so treatment,
Yeah, no, treatment is medical knowledge, and all firefighters are also capable of being EMTs. So you do know medicine it slightly above the first aid level. And that actually, with the points as they are now, brings you flush with our other characters.
Okay.
So
What about ranged combat hose?
I don't think that's necessary. I think that falls under your expertise as a firefighter.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, the only other thing is like,
Oh, hose! I thought. No, never mind.
yeah.
Oh.
The other thing is maybe I was thinking 1 extra point in perception, bring it up to 3, because I see him being like that's his thing. Like when it comes to being a firefighter, right? So he's not like strong as the other ones. He's not as physically fit as the other ones, but he's above.
I
average,
can
but,
I can
like-
I can do
Your
that.
name is Eagle Eyes.
I can do that. It requires taking down your demolition to 1 instead of 2.
I'm okay with that as long as like I have an understanding of it.
Yep. Yeah. It'll mean that you can actually roll it to destroy an object.
Okay,
Which,
yeah.
if somebody else in this system were to destroy an object, it would just be their strength stat, whereas you can also add your skill.
Okay.
So it'll be relevant. So that's everybody's skills. Now, there's one other quick thing that we need to do before we get into role play, and the exciting world of the Canada Day block party, Canada City National Night Out block party. It's whatever. You'll figure it out. We'll all figure it out. And that's advantages. Now, advantages are basically feats from Pathfinder or D&D. They are things that our characters are capable of doing that other characters aren't. Various talents and skills. We'll start with Aubrey, Kelsa. Have you taken a look at the advantages section of the book?
I have. I don't think any of the combat advantages really work for me, unless I was to argue for prone fighting.
Which page is that on, by the way?
It's on. It's the quick list is on page 81.
I'm literally at there right now. I must have been reading it earlier. Okay.
But in actuality,
So let me make some suggestions. And in general, I'm going to allow each of you to have like 2.
Okay,
I think you could go with connected because you've got business, or contacts.
yeah.
And you own a business, so it could be either of those 2 things.
So contacts is
Also, well-informed is something you could do.
I feel like he's more likely to have connected and contacts, but that brings me back to wanting to have a point in investigation as far as being able to suss things out by going through his social network.
So that would be more like well-informed, which literally allows you to use persuasion to know something.
Because contacts was like, if you have your cell phone, you can immediately make an investigation check. But well-informed, let me reread these.
Connected and well-informed both work off persuasion, which you have.
No, right, but I'm talking about contacts, which...
Sure, but they're all sort of the same vein. So many advantages here accomplish the same thing through a different means. So
Right.
contacts lets you make a quick investigation check with a call, basically. Connected allows you to get favors for persuasion checks, and well-informed allows you to do exactly what contacts lets you to do, except for you make a persuasion check to have heard it as a rumor, basically.
Okay, yeah, I'll take that then. So I think connections and well-informed definitely fit this character.
All right, so well-informed and connections.
Yeah, I don't think any of the rest of these really... I wouldn't really want to fight for them anyway, so...
All right, but that's fine, because we're going to go on to the next person. Tiffany, you're a busy hotshot streamer, so I assume you didn't have time to read through advantages.
No.
Which is fine, because I can make a
You
couple...
mean I'm a lazy motherfucking scumbag streamer, yeah? It's, you know.
Yeah. I can make some suggestions. I can suggest that you might have eidetic memory, which is just the ability to recall things quite well.
Mhm.
And attractive, since you've listed yourself as particularly attractive. So we're already done there. Attractive. Just adding that to your sheet real quick. All right. The person that we did next in the order is the Spartan.
Yo.
Now, for you, things get a little interesting because there are quite a lot of close combat maneuver advantages, which you might be interested in. Have you read the advantage section?
I did. I didn't get through all of them, though.
That's fine. In general, you might want chokehold, or close attack, or defensive roll, evasion, fast grab if you're more of a grabber. Grabbing finesse lets you use dex instead of strength, but I don't think we really went into dex for you.
Yeah, I think easiest
Prone fighting, there's a bunch. Takedown, throwing mastery. I think there's an improvised weapon one. Do you want to actually be very much like I grab a thing and hit somebody with it, like in the real world?
Yeah, I do. I do want to. So I'll grab improvised weapon, and oh man, there's just so many good ones. Let's just go quick, fast grab as well.
All right, so fast grab lets you segue into grabbing someone after just making an unarmed attack.
Yeah.
Hopefully you don't get like fire powers or whatever would make that completely irrelevant. That will take us to Peachy as Dirk Pecksmeat.
Okay, so he Googles a lot, so definitely jack of all trades.
Okay. Let me re-look at that one. Yeah, I feel that's definitely doable. Use any skill untrained. That just means that any of the things that you need a point in to do to even attempt, he can attempt them anyway, and that is a perfectly reasonable one to have. And one other.
I'm not too sure. I mean, he's a pro gamer, so he probably plays a lot of team games. So I'm looking at teamwork, but does that fit here?
I don't see any reason why not. Basically, when your character helps someone else, typically there is a set limit. It's like a +2. You would add +5.
Seems pretty strong.
Is it going to end up like the intros of the Leroy Jenkins video where the dude's giving like the intro?
I'm totally the guy that's like reading all the stuff.
Yeah,
All right.
and
And then the Spartan's just like Sparta.
So that brings us to our final character before we start role-playing. And thank you all for being patient with our character creation. Sydney Joshua, there are certainly a lot of interesting ones here for a firefighter.
Yeah. So
Do any stand out to you?
yeah, second chance.
Reroll a hazard check. That makes perfect sense. I was going to suggest it.
Yeah.
So anytime there's an environmental hazard and he has to make a check against it, if he fails the first one, he can just reroll.
Mhm.
Perfectly makes perfect sense
Now,
for a firefighter.
Yeah, the other one that I'm looking at is either leadership or seize initiative.
Both of those kind of make sense. I would also suggest perhaps great endurance, fearless, instant up. You could also have things like fast grab for your, the way in which you rescue people.
Fearless doesn't sound too bad, actually.
So yeah, basically, you have been in burning buildings. You are not going to be afraid of other things.
Sure. Okay. So, just out of curiosity, can we get different advantages later?
Yes. So that will be part of your character advancement later on in the game.
Okay.
But what we're trying to demonstrate now is what you have going in as a normal person to
Sure.
the start
Yeah. I'm definitely. It's definitely either leadership or fearless at this point, I think.
I'll put a strong vote in for fearless.
Yeah, I'm okay with fearless as well. We'll go with that. So second chance and fearless.
All right.
So fearless is immune to fear effects, and second chance is reroll a failed
hazard
check against a hazard. Now, when it says once, is that per session or per encounter?
That's per roll. So every time I call, if I call for a hazard
roll?
check roll, yeah. So if I
Yeah.
Well, so because in this game, hazard checks, I wouldn't call for more than one hazard check unless it was happening again. Basically, you've either passed or failed, right? I don't keep calling for hazard checks on the pit of acid that you're walking over or whatever. So yeah, per hazard, you can reroll.
Okay. Yeah, I like that.
And that's because hazards aren't always going to come up. Sometimes you're just going to get shot in the face. It's not an amazing reroll. So we're ready to start role playing.
Yay.
Canada City, America, National Night Out. The neighborhoods of the nation are grilling and doing potato sack races and throwing water balloons. It is the middle of August, and you, 5 average ordinary people with jobs, all live on the same cul-de-sac, which is a block that dead ends and comes back out. So you have a particularly robust national night out. The other blocks that are nearby come to yours because the cul-de-sac is obviously the fun one where you don't have to put up cones so cars don't drive through. People have their grills out. At any point, any of you can say, I'm the one that has a grill out and I'm grilling burgers, and there are kids running and having fun.
He has a grill out, but he's just grilling corn. It's all the entire grill is corn, and it's got chili powder on it.
Oh man, the kids come running for corn on the cob, made by Aubrey. There are sweet old ladies who have set out tables with doilies on them, and they've put out the cookies that they baked for the neighborhood kids. There is laughter and play, and in the distance you can even hear fireworks. Tell me, adventurous, normal, average, everyday people, what are you getting up to in this particular event?
Go ahead. Yeah, you first.
Tiffany has basically set out a deck chair in her front garden, settled down in the shade with a book, and is just sort of nibbling on some dips and things.
Let me ask you a question, Tiffany. There is a fad that's going through American neighborhoods these days, which is neighborhood libraries. You put a mailbox at the end of your home that essentially has books in it, and it's take one whenever you want. And bring it back if you want to, but you don't have to.
Dear God, no. Take my books from my cold, dead hands.
All right. You don't care about other people reading. You care about you reading.
No. Library books are for the library, and that's fine. My books are mine. No.
Right. All right. There is no take a book, leave a book box at the end of Tiffany's home.
If you want a book,
Tiffany,
read the fucking library.
The incredibly beautiful Tiffany is sitting out on her lawn reading a book.
Amazingly fancy-looking garden with weird shit from all over the world, and it's.
And there is more than one neighborhood single man who has occasionally come around and tried to get you to join the party. Hey, why don't you come over and have some corn on the cob or a burger?
No, I'm fine. No. Good bit.
I haven't heard that one before. That's a new one.
Hey, you want to join the car in the cab? Dave, you were about to say what?
Yeah, so I imagine, like, so this is my mind's eye, and maybe you can tell me it's wrong, but I imagine, like, most of the men, married or otherwise, would probably come and try and hang out with me, mostly because they want to be like, yeah, so tell us about the fucking fire that happened last week, huh? How dangerous was that? You know, like, that sort of shit, and I'd just be like, oh, God.
Well, the
Okay.
men who aren't grilling certainly are gathering around King of the Hill style with beers.
Yeah.
And they certainly want stories of fires to be part of that.
Yeah, so, like, I imagine, I guess, this is sort of the problem that my character has. I imagine he sort of gets dragged into these, like, social events and whatnot because it's just like, so, your life is exciting. Tell me about it, you know? Like, it's just like, oh, okay.
Is there like one guy talking about propane?
Propane accessories. Yeah, you got to be real careful with the heat on that grill. Tell them, Sydney, you don't want to accidentally burn the neighborhood down.
No, yeah, you gotta be real careful with your. Takes a sip, like just keeps drinking.
How obvious is it that he's really uncomfortable right there?
Well, it's not obvious. I mean, he definitely humors everyone because, especially with this, like, this is one of those events I imagine where, like, regardless, like, Tiffany's probably feeling it as well, right? You have to sort of participate if you live here. There's no way around it. So, yeah.
Like you could like, oh, I'm sorry, I have to be at work or whatever. But it's one of these things where it's like, if you're home and
You
they
have
see
no
the light
excuse.
on,
Yeah.
they'll just be like, well, that guy's just an asshole.
Yeah, all the middle-aged women are like, oh, no, you've got to come. No, oh, yeah, and so-and-so's done the potluck, and, oh, it's going to be amazing.
I feel like Aubrey's house is one of the ones, like, at the very end of the cul-de-sac.
Uh-huh.
And so,
Like right in the middle of the street,
like,
sort of end.
Yeah, like, and so, like, the first year, he was just like, I don't know what's going on. But this is year 2 of him living on this cul-de-sac, and he's just like, well, everybody's going to be on my lawn anyway. I might as well be grilling.
Yeah, and this will also allow me to keep, like, am I stereotyping the antiques dealer that he also has knickknacks in his yard? Like gnomes? Does he have gnomes or anything like that?
Yeah, there's, like, a couple, and there's, like a big, like sculpture of, like, the sun made out of, like, metal of some kind.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking
It's like
about.
one of those
Yeah.
wind things that tell you which
No, like-
direction the wind's going or whatever.
Like just attached to the side of the house.
Oh, yeah,
Not
okay.
Like, not like a wind thing.
All right, so it's also, and if I'm in my yard grilling corn cob, I can keep the kids from touching my knickknacks.
Yeah, totally. That's definitely an aspect of that going on. But there's he definitely, like, while the grill is going and everything is like, you can leave it alone for a second, swings by the old ladies, and steals some cookies and flirts with all the women over 60 because it makes them feel good.
Oh, you handsome devil, you.
I hope you get really good superpowers in the next few minutes.
The Dirk Pecksmeat. You're an adult male, but the kids are having a squirt gun fight. I
mean, that's a little too athletic for Dirk. I figure that my mom is got pound cake out because she's making it all year round, and she's like, you come out, you will keep me company.
Do you maybe crack out like a remote controlled car or something?
I've probably got an Atari ST emulator on my phone, and I've got my Nintendo Power Glove. I've actually fitted it with Bluetooth.
Oh, I hate you.
Oh my god.
Power Glove.
I swear to God, if you get the Metamorphica thing that is like fused with object,
It just
Like, I'm gambling
a power gun.
I could get the worst powers, but I'm going ham.
oh my god.
I think definitely. I'm curious. How do you react when Aubrey comes by and flirts with your mom?
Nerd rage.
He probably wouldn't say anything. Let's be real.
Yeah, I'd probably be like, that's like my mom, but I'm too timid to say anything.
That's
I
me,
probably
Mom.
just like,
Oh. Yeah, he flashes you a smile too, like.
That's right, motherfucker. What are you gonna do?
like it's like significant PC glance of I don't mean it, but
Really? I was taking that the other way. Like,
new
yeah,
daddy.
check this shit out. Look what I can do to your mother right now. Like that's what I was getting from.
no, it was more like
Your mum, she wants to
Sorry,
do. She does, kid. Yeah.
But I mean, if she was to say yes, I wouldn't say no.
Well, I mean, my mum told me that my dad died 3 years before I was born, so
I carried you for 3 years, young man. How dare you not clean the basement?
exactly. That's spot on. Are you my mother?
I will be playing your mother for the intense.
Well, I think you nailed her voice spot on.
Oh shit, that's fucking hilarious.
You get out there and socialize.
I'm socializing,
I might
mom.
be your mother, but I'm not your best friend as well.
You are 35 years old. You are going to give me grandchildren.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen, is it?
Now he's starting to sound like my mom.
Aaron Wright, the Spartan.
Yes.
What does it look like? What is your participation?
I'm actually in that squirt gun fight with the children.
Okay.
The big super soaker ones that I wasted all my money on because I had the single no children, had all this money, so I got these dual wielding.
Are they the
giant
super
soakers.
powered
Yeah, but
ones
you're
as
a
well?
wrestler.
Giant ones.
Wrestling,
Yeah.
you're gonna be poor as fuck, man. There's not enough money in wrestling.
Now, he got a sponsorship
but-
from Nerf. Are you kidding me? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, these were a sponsored deal, so
Let me ask
I
you.
just got like a big Nerf shirt on.
Are
I
there,
got the
are there
Nerf-
Nerf guns happening right now?
I mean, it's more squirt guns because it's summer.
That's a little bit low. Yeah, that's like low leagues, little leagues.
Nerf does make squirt guns. I will also point out they do cross. They're
not real Nerf guns, though, are they? Come on.
Can you imagine
they're not-
getting hit with a soaked, like, just water-soaked, like, Nerf bullet? Be like,
I think they actually tried to do something like that.
well.
I think they actually tried to do like a physical conveyance of water at one point that did not work out.
Oh, they
Call
do
me
those,
Nerf,
no,
we'll
they
talk,
do. They
yeah.
have those things where you soak like a little spongy ball, and it's like a little grenade launcher for this spongy ball full of water.
Yeah, Spartan. Let me ask you a question. What is your wrestling outfit, and is it something that you are wearing as a sort of like joke to be like, I'm coming to the squirt gun fight decked out in my Spartan armor stuff? Like, what does it look like?
He's definitely shirtless, but he's got that like fringed leather kilt kind of thing going
Right,
on.
the Romans supposedly had. Right, yeah.
That's what he's got going on.
His
But,
shirt is-
but today he's wearing a shirt,
And
he's wearing a shirt, and it's got the Soaker Super logo on it, full sellout, full
Gotcha.
sponsorship, and I'm just
the Roman Legion edition or whatever?
so he's playing with kids in a leather skirt.
I bet you there's a super soaker called the Centurion.
Yeah.
Oh my
that's
God.
the new model. That's out.
The Trojan.
I would buy that shit. Are you kidding me? I'd buy it right now.
That's
Yeah,
it.
you're a fucking nerd, Dave.
So nothing immediately. So Nerf N-Strike Elite Centurion Blaster does exist. Called it swoosh.
Is that on Amazon? Because I need it today.
It's
We
going
are
to
now
show up
about
in 4 hours.
All right, you guys are all at the block party, and things are, they're pretty much exactly as we've described them. People are having various little conversations. People are running around playing squirt guns. Dirk is avoiding any sort of socialization, but he's getting a really good score on Duck Hunter. And Aubrey is awkwardly flirting with all of the women.
Literally
All the
everybody.
single ladies. All the single
Pretty
ladies.
much everybody over the age of 18 gets awkwardly flirted with, male or female. It
How
doesn't
old are
matter.
you, girl? I was like, I'm 17. Goodbye. So, wait, did anyone have a conversation? I was like, no, I don't.
I mean, I probably know most of the people on this block, especially anybody who plays Pokemon Go. Totally feel like that is something that
That's actually been banned in Canadian City.
Canadian City.
So, I'm going to call for the very first roll of the game.
Was it a Nazi moon laser? Because I swear to God,
Hold on,
that is
hold on
the
a
best
second.
one.
Called it.
Shut your mouth. First of all, everybody, open your character sheet because this is how it's very easy to roll. Thanks to Roll20 and their miraculous APIs, we can just click the dice thing next to the. Please give us money. The dice thing next to the thing that I'm about to call for, which is a perception check. Ladies and gentlemen, the first roll of this game is a perception check. Please, everyone, click the dice next to perception.
Oh, thank God I beat Albury, because that would have been bad if I didn't.
Yeah, that would have been pretty bad.
And I'm rolling at a +9 on my perception, and I couldn't even beat the fucking. All right, yeah.
Where's perception on there?
Perception's a skill,
It's a
so
skill.
you'll go down into the skill list, and it'll also count your base awareness as part of it. So it auto rolls the entire thing.
I know, I just can't actually see perception in here.
It's
in there.
above persuasion, below investigation, in between ranged combat and expertise.
Oh, right, there we go. Okay, right. This little dicey thing. Uh-huh. Was that the Heart of Gold notification noise?
Yes, it was. That is my text noise. Thank you for being the first person to be like, what is that random noise?
I really like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Wow, my perception is awful. Wait, is high good or bad?
You want high.
You definitely want high.
Okay, now this book is really fucking good, okay?
All
What's
right.
that ground shaking? Oh, well.
Sydney and
Sydney Sexton.
Aubrey. Aubrey, you're milling about, sort of half interested in your flirting with women over 60. And Sydney, you are eye-rolling at another, like, oh, yeah, make sure not to burn that. Isn't that right, Sydney? I can tell jokes that are vaguely about your job.
Yeah. You could call this sausage third-degree burned. And I'm just like, and then I'm just like, third-degree burn's actually, like, terrible for people. And he's just like, puts the sausage on a plate real slowly.
Aubrey and Sydney.
Yeah.
It starts off as you think it's just the heat or some other trick of the summer sun, but you look up in the sky and you are certain that you see dead pixels.
Oh, man. Okay.
Whoa.
So what does it look like behind the dead pixel? Is it just like white?
So, well, a dead pixel on a monitor sort of like it's the wrong, it's stuck on blue, red, or green.
So it's like
which are
inverted or whatever, kind of?
So look up maybe for our edification, we can look up images of dead pixels to get you into the mood of what that exactly looks like. But it's basically a discoloration that is either red, blue, or green. And you can see, like, you don't understand it, but you're fairly certain you can see more than one in the sky.
Yeah. What do I need to notice him noticing?
That would be an insight check. And I'm saying it's going to be fairly difficult because you're actually appraising everybody in the entire block party to see if
maybe your shrooms have kicked in and you just wanted to make sure that it's not just you that's seeing it.
Yeah,
just,
totally. I certainly have the feeling that Aubrey does recreational drugs of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's a pretty good insight.
I mean, you pretty much have to cope with that.
That is super high. That is definitely enough to see that. And we're going to keep the DCs a little low here. I will point out that difficulty in Mutants and Masterminds is based on every 5. So 15 is considered like average. And for right now, because we're normal humans, we're going to be doing average things. But literally, you're getting up later on in the system, especially with superpowers and etc. Some of the checks will be like, you need to make a 35 here to do this.
Okay.
So just to sort of give you the scale of how it goes as it goes up. Yeah, you can definitely see that Sydney Joshua is also like looking up at the sky and like, maybe like sort of like hand waving in front of his eyes to see if it's his own eyes. Maybe.
Yeah. And I think I walk over to him and I'm like, you seeing that?
I'm just so maybe I'm just like I sort of look down at Aubrey and I'm just like, yeah, I feel like I didn't get enough sleep last night or something. You know, maybe like rub my eye. I'm just like, it's probably just phantoms. Don't worry about it. Happens all the time. Very hot day, you know. Make sure you drink lots of water.
Yeah. Look, you want some corn, beer, something, man?
I like look at the 2 beers I'm holding. I'm just like,
So
a little something.
Sydney gives a very like, I don't know what that is, but you've both just admitted that you see this. And Aubrey, you glance up at the sky one last time, and there are definitely more dead pixels. You do not have the time to feel anxiety about what that could be, as suddenly everything is frozen in place. Someone is cracking a beer, and the sound of it stops, and the fizz of the beer is suspended in the air. There's a bird mid-flight.
Stealing that burnt sausage.
Kids are, like, there's a kid in the middle of falling and face planting who is just frozen there, face against the asphalt.
Legs in the air.
Every one of you perceives this frozen time. You are still perceiving what is happening, but nothing is moving. You can't move. You can't look around. Where you were looking is now frozen in front of you.
Does everything go like grayscale? Because I'm imagining grayscale.
No, everything is still exactly colored.
Okay.
Your perception of time is difficult because you've never experienced frozen time, but your perception continues for a few moments. And then suddenly, each and every one of you, somewhere right next to you, in your field of view, perhaps even between your own eyes, a wall of blue, red, and green dead pixels vivisects you in the scene in front of you. You can't see through it. Each of the 5 of you is in some way vivisected by this effect. Several of the other people at the party will be too. You all happen to be in a perfect line. A perfectly 2-dimensional plane of dead pixels has, as far as you can tell, vivisected the planet Earth as far as the eye can see, with time frozen.
Have you tried turning it off and on again?
And now we go to the Metamorphica table.
Can we still breathe in this situation out of curiosity, or does it?
You can't. Your time is frozen, so you can't move. Your eyes can't move. You're still perceiving what is happening, but you are not like no.
At least I'm still reading my book.
Okay, I finished the page. Fuck.
That's alright. I'll just read the bit about the heaving buttocks again.
Now, for the people following along at home, the Metamorphica is a mutation table that was written for Advanced Dungeons & Dragons way back in the days of yore. It is completely free. Actually, it's pay what you want on Drive-Thru RPG. So please go over there and support them if you're rich. Or if you just want it right now to follow along, go pay nothing.
Yeah, so it's literally like, roll 1d1000 and consult the table listed.
It is literally roll 1d1000. How do we want to do this? Do we want to roll initiative to see who rolls first, or do we just want to volunteer? Like, what's the deal here?
All put it in at the
Just
same
roll,
time.
man. Roll that shit.
No, we should do it one at a time, because I feel like it would get a little too complicated then.
Well, I agree that we're doing it one at a time, but I'm asking, who are we doing first? Are we rolling initiative to see who goes first, or are we just volunteering?
Let's just roll a
I was
1d20.
saying,
Let's just roll a 1d20.
my theory was everybody rolls their 1d1000, and then we just do it in order from lowest to highest as we go through the book.
I don't like that, because lowest to highest through the book also is like least powerful to most powerful.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And because we're workshopping them so that they're all on the same power level, we kind of don't want to do like a scale.
I say we just roll a 1d20 and then go from...
as Dave said, highest goes first. Everybody roll a 1d20 using Roll20's amazing quantum dice system. Roll20 sponsor us.
Nope, I was not actually rolling.
You just rolled 20. Just straight up.
Yep.
I rolled a 1d10. Anyway, whatever. It's still a 3.
No, re-roll a 1d. Roll a 1d20 because you tied. So actually, like, you actually have to roll.
Yeah, that's fine.
What?
That'll
Who
do.
do-
All right. So you did, but he rolled wrong, so it didn't matter. Surprisingly low rolls all around. But it does mean that we start with Aaron Wright.
Oh, damn.
Aubrey
Now-
got a 20. What are you talking about?
No, she literally rolled 20.
I rolled 20 instead of
Oh, I see. Roll 20.
it's fine.
So-
I fixed it.
Jacob, Nightmare, the Spartan, Aaron Wright, do you want me to roll 1d1000 or do you want you to roll 1d1000?
Don't you
I
fucking
wanna-
give this up, Nightmare. You roll that one.
I gotta control my own fate, so I'm gonna roll it myself. Alright, 1d1000.
257, which puts you squarely in the body function table.
You can use your hands.
I need you to now roll. I need you to now roll 1d200 plus 200. That'll be your specific exact prompt. Now remember, this is a prompt. We will workshop this power once we know exactly what it is. Your prompt, and we may let's be open to the idea of mulliganing here because it may not be much to work with. You get 239, which is early maturation. This mutant matures quickly, finishing puberty and reaching physical adulthood at half the age as is normal. This is a prompt. So, we can come at this from aging, we can come at this from hormones. But if you feel
puberty.
if you feel there's not enough to work with here, we can mulligan. Some of these are definitely mulliganable. This is perhaps one of them. I will not pressure you.
My question is, why not just use the D1000 roll that he actually had originally rolled?
So you're supposed to
There's many multiple inner tables for everything. It's
Tables within tables within tables.
Yeah.
So there is only 1,000 options. The instructions say to do it this way. We don't have to. That can be his other option, I suppose.
That would be what? Gas emission?
Guess.
So
I already have that power.
Don't we all? Don't we all?
So in fact, let's continue to do it this way, and then we will have two results that are in the same table. And if one of them is garbage, like early maturation, not that it can't be used, mind you. So
Also, you say maturation, I hear masturbation. Just saying.
he
He goes
is.
back in time and finds masturbation super early.
He has trouble holding it in. Okay, so
I
chat.
don't know if that's a superpower.
Chat, feel free to workshop this with us. His two possible powers are gas emissions and early maturation. If anybody in the chat has ideas, start throwing them out here because all of us are also going to workshop this, and we will be keeping an eye on the chat. Gas emission, by the way, asks you to roll a 1d8 to find out what type of gas you emit. So perhaps that'll help you further workshop the power if you would like to do that. 5, which is paralytic gas.
Yeah.
So
That's actually really useful for wrestling.
Yeah.
I'm getting a sort of Signs alien vibe, right? They had that sort of thing that would come out and then gas somebody and they'd pass out. It could certainly work with the whole grappling and chokehold theme that your character
What about
had.
gas emission? You can turn into gas.
I would allow that.
Turn
That
into
is
vapor and stuff.
that is something that you could work off of from
you
this
could
prompt.
you could surround some and then you could say that it's a sleeping gas, right? So that you could basically encase someone, you turn into gas and just sort of envelop someone, and then they fall asleep or whatever, or
Breathe me in, baby. I want to be inside you.
yeah.
Breathe me.
Mutants and Masterminds does in fact have a power that is used to describe the form of the superhero. So there is it wouldn't even be difficult to build I turn into gas power, if that is sort of what you're feeling.
Yeah, I'm just trying to reach out what they feel about the hormonal power thing because I got nothing on that one.
Lobozo has suggested that you literally like the thing that happens in puberty is people grow in size and strength, but they also get emotional and moody. So you could maybe have basically a Hulkish power.
You become the Hulk, yeah.
Where
That's perfect for your character.
Really is.
it would be like I get big and strong, but also I lose emotional control. It wouldn't just be the Hulk rage.
Yeah.
Like you would be,
Like you're just crying constantly while you're
Yeah,
punching people.
absolutely.
you would lose. Like if we're gonna go with that theme of teenagers, you are extra weepy, you are extra self-conscious, you are extra shy.
I like that.
Extra horny.
Yeah,
Launch a
totally.
guy into space.
How'd you come here after? Oh god.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a lot better than the gas one, in my opinion. You could probably have a lot more fun with that. But
They're both something to work with.
How are we gonna work the mood swings? Like, is it gonna be just a random chance, or do I have to decide when?
So that's something relevant to bring up at this exact moment is that powers can have modifiers and descriptors, but in particular they can have flaws, which
make them stronger, yeah.
and this is something that everybody's going to answer with this power workshop, because the flaws are used to make the cost of the power go down. And as I am building the powers after this session in order to balance them, I'm just going to be saying things like, how do you feel about a power that requires you to concentrate or fades over time? I'm basically going to say, do you want any of the flaws in your power? And this would best be described, I think, by side effect, which is a flaw that a power can have that causes a side effect. In this case, we would build the side effect to minus your insights, your awareness, your emotional things as a result of using your power. You would also probably have a static minus to those things, and then we would say things like, you literally gain the condition emotional after you use your power, which would bring the cost of the power down, making it more powerful. It's up to you. The gaseous one could also have side effects if you wanted to double back to that. Although we're sort of feeling this emotional one.
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling the emotion one because that's gonna force me to, act different emotions for a whole. Like I'm just imagining, just like I'm big and angry, and I smash the hood of a car, and then I'm like, oh god, what did I do? And then the bad guys are running away, and I'm sitting there to cry and mess that I hurt this car. And someone else has to pick
And
up
it's
the
worth
slack.
pointing out, too, that as you evolve the power, you can remove the flaws from it.
Yeah, and the flaws can change as well. So one of the ways that we're advancing our character in this game is the cinematic Dragon Ball Z Bleach way, where the power evolves at the cinematic moment. When the bad guy beats you, finally. When the bad guy kidnaps your girlfriend. When the bad guy or the world or whatever, like that's when we come back here and do the exact thing we're doing now, which is workshopping the power. How does it grow? And so maybe your power goes into, well, not only do I get stronger now, but like my emotions affect other people. My out of control emotions now affect other people near me. Like that could be somewhere that we go with this. But
Oh my god, the entire party having a strop.
Yeah, I mean, okay, instead of hulking out, you could essentially,
Strop
model... Okay, let's say, how about this? You model it with your gas power, and you basically make people around you become emotionally, whatever.
Stable.
Yeah, distraught, yeah. Or whatever,
Stroppy. Let's say stroppy. Just. So basically, the party would just be having a massive slap fight.
I'm just like the pheromone master.
yeah.
Well,
I mean,
It's like you get angry, you get exhausted.
I mean, that's something you could do as well, right? I mean...
I was gonna say, since the power is like maturity, like maturation, if you were to actually mix it with the gas power, I could see it more like being like a power that would allow you to mature other people or things.
so accelerate time.
you could have like an age drain power that would be completely
Yeah,
based
like fucking
early
Indiana
maturation process.
Jones drinking from the wrong goblet sort of thing. You're like, you know. Yeah.
So, there powers that do that sort of thing are called afflictions, and it's important to go over that if you want to have that power. An affliction it works like a poison in another system. You roll your affliction attack, and it is a certain amount of powerful, and then they roll a Constitution check or something, a toughness check, a fortitude check, against that affliction, and the degree by which they fail is how much they are affected. So you, over the course of a fight, those failures would start to stack up. They would maybe get a little drained, but at the end of a fight, you could maybe turn someone into a pile of dust, like if they keep getting a bad resistance check to that.
So you got some options, man, for real.
You got a lot of options. Do we maybe want to give him time to think and roll somebody else?
I think that'd be great. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So the next person in order of their high rolls, which were not impressive in any way tonight, is actually Aubrey.
Right.
So Aubrey, I'm still going to ask, do you want me to roll 1d1000 or do you want you to roll?
Too late. I already did it.
Too late. You already did it. So that's 572. Let's also follow the instructions, which are to then roll. Hold on a second. I'm down there at the fucking gas.
Oh shit. Yeah.
It's now that you are at the mind cognition table. Ooh, we're all very excited. The mind cognition table requires you to roll 1d100 plus 500.
Okay.
So that'll give us 2 results here to talk about.
Oh yeah, no, I see how this works now. Because it's literally just it rolls within the table a second time. Yeah.
So the first one, which is 572, is mechanical intuition. I'm not going to roll the description of that yet because I'm still going to read off the other thing, which is cultural flexibility.
I love that. You're culturally sensitive to everyone's needs.
I mean, there's much more to work with there than that. For example, this mutant is able to mingle and associate easily with people of any race, creed, social status, or cultural background. I'm feeling a chameleon power from this.
Like
due to its ability to accept alien cultural patterns and mimic such behaviors without needing to criticize them, other people feel at ease around the mutant. So basically, this is a charisma power.
Yeah.
It's hard to say no when you already built a charisma character to that sort of thing, but for the sake of...
I know, let's look at the other one.
Argument, mechanical intuition, this mutant is much better at figuring out mechanical and technological devices than others of its species. It can also learn mechanical and technical skills much quicker. This is, and I said this to Dave. Dave asked, well, are there going to be like people with like Iron Man power suits if they're being given powers through some weird thing? I basically said, if they roll one of the things that makes them capable of being an inventor, they can make it so that their power is, I invented a power suit.
Now, you have the discus. You have Frisbee.
Fuck
You do.
You could actually make Captain America's shield with the mechanical intuition. They are both very tempting powers. They're also prompts, so we could get creative here. We could do a little bit, we could far remove it a little bit. Maybe you can literally shapeshift into people of other cultures. Maybe your mechanical intuition means you can talk to machines. Maybe it means maybe it means you can actually communicate and in some ways control machines as opposed to like actually work with them.
So far, we've literally gotten Cindy powers every single roll. Literally. Oh man.
Check out season 1 of Sin Eaters on our SoundCloud.
Yeah.
Considering how random this was, gosh, I'm really into the social powers, but I also I was totally prepared to come into this and get some really bullshit power that was unrelated to my build. And so because of that, I kind of want to go with the tech-based power.
All right, now.
So you're not like hamstrung into one thing, right? At that point.
So what are you foreseeing for that? Are you seeing that you talk and control the machines, or are you actually an inventor? Are you Tony Stark? Are you what's going on there?
So there was a couple of powers that happened in Heroes. There was a kid who could watch YouTube videos and then do the thing perfectly that was on the YouTube video. Like, I don't remember what he... Like, basically he would watch someone doing Kung Fu and then he could do Kung Fu, right?
I would say that with mechanical intuition, if you wanted, you could have a power that allowed you to, like... You know, like Rogue from X-Men, where she absorbed other superpowers' powers? You could absorb capabilities from machines. That would be the most complicated power that I could possibly build. But it can be built in Mutants and Masterminds. Powers that change based on context can be built in Mutants and Masterminds. Third edition is an incredibly great system if you want to do superheroes. It is the best system, in my opinion, to do superheroes. Go buy it on DriveThruRPG. Also sponsor us.
Bring money.
So yeah, like I love the idea of the cultural flexibility. Like it reminds me of like the Mistborn ability to just be like instant friends with everybody.
Yeah, it does have a lot of that in it.
That was kind of the vibe that I was getting with it. Just like instantly pick up on all social cues and just put people at ease and make people like me better. Which would be really OP and I would abuse the shit out of. With the other one,
I think you've never played with me as a GM. I don't think you would the obstacles I will put in front of you will not be immediately knocked over by amazing social powers, but they will help.
I mean, we'll see. I have some pretty amazing social powers. But I like mechanical intuition because it's... I love the idea of, like, tinkering with stuff and, like expanding his business into weird shit that he's tinkered with. Like...
You've also got the option, if you can do things like that, YouTube stuff, you could basically have access to any information on the planet.
Yeah, your mechanical your mechanical intuition could extend specifically to computers. So with that sort of, as Peachy suggested, like I would limit the power in that way. If you wanted to have the power to harness information from the internet, then that would be your only power.
Oh man, crystals power your machines.
For now. So remember, these powers also advance later on. So another thing to consider as you're deciding is which one has the most interesting progression track.
I do kind of like the ability to like build stuff.
Okay.
I feel like I played a superhero game over the weekend, and I went into that game specifically as the only character without superpowers. And I was like, all right, I'm going to Tony Stark this. And so I feel really bad if I was to take this and be like, all right, now I build super suits.
So let me clarify. Let me clarify something.
Yeah.
Because of the way that we're doing power advancement, if you had a mechanical thing, you would have a very good like technology rating. You would gain expertise mechanics, and that would allow you to do things like, disable this machine or make it start working again. But as far as actual inventions, those would be your power increases. So you would tell me, I would ask, so what I would do if you chose that is I would ask you, what's the first invention that you made in the 8 months that we're time skipping? And that's the thing that you have until your powers advance again, at which point I say, what is the invention that you've kept under the sheet this whole time that you were working on that is like you finished it today and you can press the button that summons it to you now because it's ready, a la Tony Stark, who summons the brand new suit with his wristwatch. So that's how power advancement would work with a inventor build, essentially.
I really like that idea. Like,
we gave Nightmare time to think. And we discussed all possible options for Kelsa. So we're going to go roll the next thing on our table and come back to Nightmare later. The next person on our table, in order of these incredibly crappy low rolls, is Sydney.
Oh, shit.
Sydney Joshua, the firefighter. Are you ready to have your fate determined?
Yeah, I'm hoping for fire powers because that would be ironic.
Okay, isn't it ironic? Roll 1d1000.
Oh, super
267, which is in the low, boring stuff.
God.
In fact, it is in the body functions table, so please roll 1d200 plus 200, I believe was that roll.
Yeah, I was hoping for super high. Oh. 200
Well-
plus 200.
I think it's 200 bucks.
Hemophilia.
I get allergies, or I get hemophilia. Yeah. Wow.
Okay, so now
I get a disease.
I think these are incredibly interesting prompts. On the surface, the most obvious things are you can give other people allergies.
Okay.
Which could be basically you would have a series of afflictions that you could give people. The hemophilia, I don't think that it's particularly difficult, in my opinion, to argue that maybe you have some sort of blood control power with that. Like hemophilia, the mutant's blood lacks hemophilia. The mutant's blood lacks coagulating agents, and so any cuts will continue to bleed, and the mutant is dead or wounds are artificially sealed. That to me is literally Dead Man Wonderland.
I'm okay with that. That seems like an interesting power.
Mutants and Masterminds is capable of doing the Green Lantern thing where Green Lantern makes objects. There's literally a make object power, and then you specify what you can make objects out of, which in your case would be blood, your own. And presumably in the future, as you've advanced in power, other people's blood.
Maybe other people's, yeah. And maybe even blood bending at that point. I don't know. Okay, yeah, I'm okay with that. That's super easy. The other one is,
Allergies.
Well, since it didn't take you any time at all to decide, which is fair because that was a really good power. Let's talk about the flaws that we might give your power. So there's
the obvious one is that it's harder for me to heal myself.
Yeah, so that would be a side effect, which I'm totally cool with.
You have to eat people.
There's also you could say that it requires concentration, but that would be a little that's sort of limiting in a way that is probably not as interesting.
Like for example, like if I bandage a cut, it doesn't stop bleeding, right? Because it doesn't coagulate. Like that's literally what hemophilia is.
So I think that we could probably do a thing where it's like you have to control your blood to coagulate, which means in order to heal in any way, you need to concentrate. Which I think is just as that's enough flaws. We could say, I will also offer to you the possibility that maybe you turned purple or something. Do you want to have a physical mutation in any way?
I don't think that's appropriate. I think that, it's a double-edged sword, right? If I use it as a weapon, then I have to...
You also run out of blood, so I think tiring might be another thing that your power might have if you use blood.
Is there anything in here like for keeping track of that sort of stuff?
Yeah, so the system is capable of tracking conditions, basically. And so the track that goes into death actually starts with getting tired. So, which makes perfect sense, because even in Dead Man Wonderland, where they were controlling their blood, there was always the anime thing of, if I use more blood, I'll pass out, but he's going to come kill me unless I don't, so I'm just going to have to do it anyway. There was a balancing thing, which was a lot of fun in that anime. Go watch it. Please sponsor us.
We've got a Crunchyroll support thing now. Thanks for the money.
So, that knocked out of the park, basically.
Yeah, that was easy.
We have finished Sydney's power. He controls blood and makes shit out of it. He is Dead Man Wonderland. And our next individual on the rolls is Dirk. And Tiffany will be last. Unfortunately, you rolled lowest.
Alrighty.
Good night, Fuzzy. 444. Wow.
444.
And you want 1d400 plus 400?
Yes. 1d100 plus 400.
1d100 plus 400.
Yeah. You were 2 points away for getting Hoarder.
444 and 442. Okay.
Oh, you got Hoarder! Oh!
Wow! Oh, wow! Dave with the psychic premonition. Oh, man.
Now he has superpowers.
So let's read Hoarder. This mutant must compulsively hoard objects and refuse to throw things away. There's a lot of things we can do with that prompt. And finally, 444, hunting instinct. This mutant is dominated by a powerful urge to hunt and kill. The mutant may be fixated on a specific creature or type of person.
So
Vampire.
Dave's a vampire, and no, you're a werewolf. It's all worked out.
Okay, so I like Hoarder because he's probably got like he's probably a hoarder of like retro tech anyway, but the juxtaposition of him having to hunt and kill people as this like full on socially awkward nerd is just
So, I mean, there's also more dimensions we can add to this. Hoarder could be like literally the ability to telepathically call objects to you.
Yeah, I was
Store?
thinking like hammer space. You just like
Hoarder could also be a way to argue that you have like draconic powers.
Okay,
because
hang on.
hoarding
I got a
with
perfect
dragons.
idea. You know the old trope of like you get video game powers? The first thing you get is like an inventory that you can pull things from.
Like a literally bag of
like a
holding.
bag of holding.
But
You
like
could have
no.
that.
It's literally like a menu appears in front of you and you reach in and pull out the sword.
Yeah,
From
but
nothing.
it works like a bag of holding that I
Yeah.
would have to run on the table to get if what I wanted.
And on top
So
of that,
it-
you also get the
it's like a
gamer
solid
complication of like hoarding all the potions, you know? Like
So I've literally played in a game where someone's power was they had a pocket dimension inside their chest, and they would just have things in it. And one time they opened up the pocket dimension to absorb someone's like eye beam, and then closed it, and then opened it again to shoot the eye beam back at them. Like pocket dimension stuff is really fun when you get creative with it.
What if he becomes like you kind of coming off of what Dave said? He becomes a D&D character, so he has a character sheet and he can pull out. It's like, oh, I'm gonna cast this spell, and then he just casts that spell.
I can change my class on the fly.
Yeah, you could be your.
Doesn't really fit in with the
character.
hoarder thing though, does
you
it?
get like experience for your character inside of this game and you just like you level up.
I love that idea so much.
And back to hunting instinct though. Many famous supervillains have had the hunting power. Wolverine is not a supervillain, but he had the hunting ability. Sabretooth, his counterpart, had the hunting ability.
So that's like sniffing out people and being like, oh, I
Like you
smell
could
that
have
guy
all
over there or
sorts of
whatever.
various like
Yeah.
flavor powers in that respect. And that is a sort of power.
oh, you could go the video game route with this too, where you can just like a mental HUD just pops up and you've got your quest like
Mhm.
on the thing, and you can know how far away and what direction they
Drink
are.
X liters of blood. Like it's like a HUD. It's like an actual quest that you're given. You don't know what happens when you beat that quest, but
You could
have it.
also there's a very famous Marvel villain. I think he's called like Huntsmaster or something. But his thing was that he in Marvel there's an entire continent that's hidden from the rest of the world that's filled with like dinosaurs and stuff, and he basically went there and hunted. But one of his shtick was that he was basically Batman the villain. He had a bunch of traps and tools and weapons that he created that were especially good at the hunt. So he had like a laser spear and like a tripwire thing that was completely unseen. And so you can go that route with hunting instinct too. You could end up being a gadgeteer, which is
Hot pocket dimension.
oh, Hawaiian, good one.
Yeah, that makes sense.
With hunting instinct, I like this video game quest marker. Can I like place a quest marker on something and I would know where it is to find it?
I could say that we
Would
could
I
argue-
have to eat it?
Okay, so like remember this is a prompt, right? So if we go with the video game thing, then maybe your drawbacks are more video game related. Maybe if you set yourself a quest, like it gives you quest markers for it, but you have to do it. Like it's sort of, this would probably be the most complicated power to build, but I'm totally down to do it. It would basically be an amalgam of like sight abilities and information gathering abilities, and then perhaps like some way to work in that you get extra rewards for doing quests as well. Maybe a power buffing ability.
So there is a manga out at the moment
Does
called.
he get an insatiable urge to ask innkeepers if there are any quests going?
Right?
I don't have any quests going.
So there is a
I have to
manga.
go into every pub and bar.
Yeah.
There is a manga out at the moment. It's called The Gamer. It's literally a guy who gets
God,
this.
you fucking weeb.
Shut up. Shut up. I read things, okay?
I'm also.
I
So-
fucking read things too, alright?
It's literally about a character who gets like the ability
I don't read
to
about like teenage schoolgirls and shit though.
the ability to affect the world with like an RPG thing where he like he grinds in real life to get like points and then he like dumps into stats and shit. So it's dumb shit like that, right? But the whole pocket ability thing could be like the starting digestion point from there, right? And then you could sort of build out.
Digestion or digression?
I actually, yeah, for building, I think that would be better than hunting instinct because it's more interesting to try and make that power better.
I think that we have actually talked about this power at most of its potentials, and we've given everybody else time, and this is also one that has a lot of options. So let's move on to Fuzzy before she collapses into
Big
a pile
swing,
of
no
sleep.
ding. Let's do it.
Roll 1d1000. Noble Fuzzy.
54.
Wow.
Holy
the
crap.
lowest- So this is on the body form table, which is the most plain.
Body form.
Telephone for you.
You can roll another 1d200, by the way.
Yeah, the body form is 1d200. 101. So your two prompts are 54, which is extremely thin, and 101, which is long neck.
I like extremely thin because I'm sure.
Oh my god, no, that goes right into paper powers. Like
Yeah.
the Paper Mario shit where you go 2-dimensional.
The other thing
so-
That's
with
exactly what I'm
long
thinking.
neck, maybe you have Mr. Fantastic powers as well?
So yeah, something like literally form. As I said earlier, when we were having to have someone who was going to be gaseous, it's very easy in Mutants and Masterminds to build a body form power. So if you have like literally a Paper Mario like ability, you make yourself paper.
What was that fucking Zelda game that had that?
Or maybe not paper, but definitely like could make myself like, so thin as to be 2D.
Well, the thing is, I think it is paper because then that's the progression route for your other powers. It's like I can then like origami myself into a paper plane and fly. Like then you get like transform powers.
Could give somebody a really fucking nasty paper cut.
Oh, you almost certainly have like sword arm that like just like slices dude's head off.
Wow, that's super dope. And then like maybe you can expand later on to be like actually a papermancer. Like actually build into making yourself a papermancer.
It's possible.
Yeah,
it certainly
I like
is.
that.
It's
Like
certainly not.
maybe the fallback on this is that it has a consistency, like whatever, like you can like body transform your body into paper, like literally transform into paper. And maybe the problem is at the start, it's actually like the consistency of paper.
Hey, if you've been fucking jabbed with a rolled up newspaper...
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like you could build your character to make it so that the paper is extremely strong at some point, but like it has all the consistency of paper, right? And then
I
you'd be
think
able
it
to
starts
build
as a like she's normal sometimes, and then she can go paper mode. And in paper mode comes with the ability to like literally slice dudes' heads off, but also she's susceptible to water, like
or fire, or whatever.
yeah, like so. And that's right there in the flaws section as well. Is what is it? I think it's like weakness or something. I don't see it right now, but like literally, you add to the power. When I'm using this power, I develop a weakness that I don't normally have.
Can we just say we fucking called the Papermancer thing? Like,
I want to say that I'm really
it happened.
feeling like we've managed to get appropriate powers for pretty much everybody.
I don't know. Blood powers are kind of like a really weird wheelhouse, but like,
But they're interesting,
they're
and
interesting. Yeah.
and you literally you windmill slammed it, as they would say in an MTG drafting.
Yeah.
You windmill slammed blood powers.
Yeah, I
So
opened the pack and saw it and just went, "Fuck it, man," and just passed it back on. You know?
that's a $300 planeswalker. I don't even need to see the rest of the pack.
Yeah.
So that brings us back to the top, where Nightmare, as the Spartan Aaron Wright, the holder of the Tri-County Heavyweight Big C Division belt, has been thinking about what his power is going to be. We workshopped it a little bit earlier, those of you who weren't here. Where the fuck were you? I'm just kidding, Kelsa. But yeah, have you given it more thought? What do you think you're doing?
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm gonna go with like a little mixture of both. So to activate my hormone mode, I have to spray some hormones into my face or whatever, and I'll basically Hulk out. I'll gain in size, gain in muscle density, and gain in hair growth. I forgot about that part.
So you have a reaction then? Is that what you're saying is happening?
Yeah.
Wait,
yeah,
are you getting extra hair down now?
So let me clarify this a little bit. Or what you're saying is that you have, like, you're basically Dr. Jackal, who has a buff that he can take, but presumably, that could eventually become something that you give other people. Yeah,
that's kind of a maybe a weakness or a flaw that I was looking for. Like, it needs an activation to it.
Okay, so you've decided your power, and over the coming week, which is when we will actually be statting out powers, because they are incredibly difficult, we're not going to put you through it live on air. They are very mathematically intense to make the powers. So over the coming week, we will build the specifics of that. We will see exactly how it looks in the point buy system. But yeah, it sounds like you basically know what you're doing. You have the buff that we talked about that also makes you emotionally unstable, but you actually generate the buff. It is a serum, it is a gas, it is a thing that you're like Bane.
Do you excrete is it your gas that you excrete that you synthesized into this thing?
I think maybe we literally do like a Bane thing where he maybe has like gas that emanates off his body, but then he's got a gas mask rig that comes around to his mouth. And
is that really his power?
I mean, maybe that could be how it looks.
No, is that Bane's actual power? Because I had no idea.
Oh, I think he's just really strong.
No, Bane's actual real power in the comic books is that he injects himself with a poison that only he is immune to, and the reaction is he gets fucking ripped. He's actually got gas. He's got canisters on his back that are filled with the poison.
Doesn't he not feel pain as well?
Yeah, no, he gets fucking jacked and no pain. And then the way Batman always beats him is he's got these ridiculous tubes that go around from his canisters on his back to like a gas mask that feeds it to him. And instead of making those tubes armored, Bane has never made those tubes Batarang proof. So Batman just Batarangs one of the tubes and then he deflates into a wimpy little guy that he normally is. So, maybe make armored tubes if we go that direction. But it sounds like you know what you're doing, is the point. We will figure out the specifics later. We also gave Kelsa time to think about it, and so it comes back to her. Kelsa?
While I was thinking, I did briefly consider going back to the social power and being like, Tuxedo Mask, I give inspiration just by being
It didn't
here.
take long to go back to fucking Sailor Moon. It really didn't.
I mean, right? But I threw that away, and I was like, no. I think going with being like being able to make things is much more interesting, and being able to use my disc golf prowess to throw discs that are have weird, I want to put little miniature EMP pulses or something, except instead it and or ones that can do a stun wave that if you hit someone with it, it knocks them out.
So let me clarify. You are going the inventor route.
Yes. And
your first invention is going to be a multi-purpose grenade thingy?
Right, but you throw it like a discus.
Okay, just because you really, really want to get the disc golf thing.
I mean,
to be fair, if you are the inventor...
He thought of this idea while he was stoned, and he was like, this is super smart. I've got all the pieces in my basement.
If you are frisbee a landmine at someone.
Yeah.
If you are the inventor, it makes sense that your invention will play to your own strengths.
Yeah.
I don't see that as a particularly large leap of logic. Okay, we will We will clarify the specifics of your first invention later when we build the power. But that brings us to Peachy, who's the last person who hasn't specifically decided. What are you thinking, Peachy?
Okay, so I want to amalgamate both of these
Okay.
as my superpowers progress.
Okay.
I liked Henley's idea of having an inventory, and maybe if we need something, I can get that. Maybe I have to roll for the likelihood to get that thing that I need because I,
Okay.
just because otherwise I could be like, nuclear bomb, whatever.
Right. Yeah.
And then
we'll
maybe I
figure it
want
out.
to escalate that to maybe get more of my video game HUD so I can get quest markers maybe a bit further down the line.
All right. So some sort of thing happened with your power glove, and you just have
An
base
inventory
power.
screen. I can switch to an inventory screen to grab stuff we need.
All right. So we've decided our powers, and we're going to be statting those powers in the week to come, but this game is not over yet. As the infinite two-dimensional plane of dead pixels vivisects all 5 of you, and indeed others amongst your person on the block,
All the kids got superpowers.
within the exact same amount of time as it showed up, it is gone. You are still frozen in time for a single moment, but then time restores. Unfortunately, the world swirls around each of you, and you black out. Now there's an 8-month time skip. The card comes up on the screen, black, 8 months later.
8 months
Zombies.
later.
Zombies.
The title card fades out, and we see. I imagine the first scene at the beginning was like a fly-in of Canada City.
Yeah, there's the Canada Tower.
Yeah,
You know,
Canada
like-
Tower.
Canada
And-
Coliseum, where I have my matches.
And you can
the Canada Coliseum.
you distinctly recognize this as Canada City from the earlier shot,
Except it's on fire.
but it's no longer pristine. In fact, it is now dark and stormy, and very clearly you can see that some sections of the city are utterly without power, but the most obvious thing is around the perimeter of the city, there is a 30-foot concrete wall with searchlights, barbed wire, guard towers, and obvious military patrols. The entire city has pockets of light and not light. It is dark, it is raining, but along the center on a bizarre axis is a domed facility exactly following the line of the strange two-dimensional plane that intersected you 8 months ago. On top, painted as it rains in a spotlight and helicopters, are big stenciled letters, UNSSTF. Everywhere through the streets in the cities, you see military patrols, trucks, and normal civilians who are dressed in various amounts of rags. Literally, they have emergency clothing that they have probably been wearing for 8 months in various degrees. You can see lines stretching out from aid stations where people are getting medical and food supplies being given by the military. Canada City is a disaster. In fact, it's like this across the world. The two-dimensional plane intersected the planet at about the 45th latitude. Spain, Italy, Greece, Mongolia, Russia, China, Japan have all had major population centers intersected by this effect. And everywhere where this has happened, humans and animals who were perfectly intersected by this effect have developed strange powers. In fact, mere hours after the event, a city on the east coast of the United States of America that will not be named was wiped off the face of the earth. Originally, they thought it was a terrorist attack. But as other people started to develop powers, they put 2 and 2 together, and someone, unfortunately, developed the power of I blow up like a nuclear bomb and wiped that city off the face of the earth. The response by the United Nations was to form the United Nations Science and Security Task Force to research the event and find a cure. But in the meantime, protect those with and without powers from those with powers. Every major population center that was vivisected by the effect has been walled off. To the vast stretches.
Are they like hot zones? Like, is it like more condensed in the cities that got like the pixel?
Well,
line?
so it was a perfectly two-dimensional plane. So actually only a handful of major population centers fell on that exact line. And everywhere else, it's extremely unlikely that a person or an animal happened to be right where it needed to be to get vivisected by the plane. There are people who got powers outside of these areas, but for the most part, in densely populated major cities is where people were close enough packed that they were vivisected by the effect and therefore got powers. So all across the globe, there are maybe a dozen major population centers that are walled off by the UNSSTF. The last 8 months, these countries have declared martial law and essentially just acquiescing to the UN's requests in order to tamper down this world-scale disaster. Today is the day that martial law is lifted, and a new Bill of Rights for people with powers is going to be announced by the president and ratified by the UN, and the new client nations that make up mostly affected nations. Like the Security Council used to be the big boys, right? But now everybody affected is on the Security Council. They have gotten major political capital by being affected. And the hot topic on all the news channels all the time is what the fuck is happening with superpowered people. You guys, the 5 of you, have spent the last 8 months holed up in Sydney Joshua's fire station. Okay. Your homes were cordoned off and completely off limits, because that's literally right where the event happened. And now along that line, through the major population centers of the world, the UN Science and Security Task Force builds their science facility to study the effects of the phenomenon. You couldn't go home. And with martial law declared, civil services default to the military. There's no longer a need for a fire station. The military handles fires. The military handles police calls. So you had access to a perfectly usable, let's call it a hideout, a headquarters, a bat cave. Canada City Fire Station number 3.
Are we the Ghostbusters?
Essentially.
Perfect.
Was there a Dalmatian in the station?
Sure.
Sweet. His name is Stripe.
All right.
Stripe, I love it.
Stripe the Dalmatian is our mascot.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, as you can imagine, there are many people who don't appreciate being walled in just because they may or may not have superpowers. With the declaration of the cessation of martial law, there is a clandestine meeting in the warehouse district of other people with powers to discuss a possible run on the wall. Whether or not you guys are actually interested in breaking out of the city is somewhat irrelevant, because these meetings are always the best place to get intel. So you would be wanting to go regardless of your motivations in that respect. That said, what's the discussion here? Do you guys go to the meeting in the warehouse district?
I would. I mean, community.
I
I feel like at this point, like, there's no escaping having to band together. So I would be pushing for it, yeah. Absolutely.
Exactly how many people are going to be there?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's better than not knowing, right?
Yeah, I'd prefer to know.
I'm sorry, you're gonna have to say that again.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I believe what he's saying is he wants to know how many people are going to be there before we go.
Can
Does
I
it
make
matter?
Can I make a well-connected roll to be like, I know, based on the last few times I've been to a meeting like this?
Sure. Why don't you roll the persuasion one for well-informed? So just roll your persuasion dice, basically.
Persuasion.
8. So Aubrey, you've been going to the hot, trendy social aid lines and asking around for.
As you do.
Well, and people aren't very open about, I have powers. There are some people who are purple and have spiky, crazy hair and like feathers and stuff, and it's obvious. But those people tend not to. They tend to send a friend to go get food from the aid line, because the UNSTF has been very, very vigorous in arresting superpowered people. You step out of line even a little bit, and you're whisked away, and you don't come back. They find whatever excuse they can, and everybody who's got superpowers knows it. That said, theoretically, as long as you follow the letter of the law entirely, they don't just like punch you and then drag you off and black bag you.
Yet.
So it's not been very easy to get information about these meetings. And as a matter of fact, you've been trying to find out when one was happening for a very long time. And this one is the first one you found out about. You have no idea how many people go. You know that they meet in the warehouse district because the UNSSTF has developed cameras that can see on your body where you were vivisected by the event. And they have a limited number of them. They're at checkpoints in the middle of the city to get from one side of the city to the other. They're on police drones that walk with squads and survey the city, but they are not on private property like the industrial area of the city. So that is a dead zone where it is perfectly safe to meet and you won't get spotted or cataloged by the UNSTIF. So you were the one to find out about this meeting, but you don't know anything else.
Is it going to be more than 20?
I'm pretty sure.
There's a lot of people.
It is a lot of people, and I don't know. I'm a little worried about. I mean, what if there's a raid? I mean, we'll I don't know.
But here's a good point. What if the unstuff decide to stop it?
We're not going to find out any information if we just sit at home.
Pretty much.
You two can stay here with Stripe if you want to. I think us three are going to go meet this meeting.
He's a big dog. He's a big dog. You don't leave me alone with that animal.
Stripe is like literally on his back, like rolling around or something like that, just being like a dog. Yeah. Like doing that thing that dogs do where they wiggle their entire bodies when they're on their back. It's like super cute.
Oh yeah.
And you're just like, it's a
I'm just looking
monster
at it, like,
animal. It's like,
terrified.
yeah. And it's like,
I'll come with you guys. It's fine.
Well, I suppose everybody else is going. I'll have to as well. I suppose.
All right.
So you're all going to the meeting. Normally here on Die Party, we take a break at like the 2-hour point. We stepped over that to do character creation and get ourselves inserted to the world. But why don't we take that break now? Because I'm sure some of us need to use the bathroom.
yeah.
We will come back for another hour approximately of gameplay when our player characters are going to go to the meeting of the malcontents of the world that they now find themselves in. So let's bring it back into the world. From Canada City Fire Station number 3, you guys have decided to go to the industrial district to attend the meeting of various malcontents in the city and get the scoop on what's happening these days. There's a problem. The industrial district is on the other side of the Unstift science facility, the line that vivisects the entire city inside the walled circle. And you can cross that line. There are checkpoints that allow free passage to either side. They're not trying to, but they're checkpoints. In the guise of defending the science facility, you're not allowed to cross over it without getting checked out by the cameras that can tell that you are a superhero. Now, as long as you do nothing wrong, that shouldn't be a problem. The other option is the sewers, which go under the city. Some of those sewers have been cut off, and there are rumors of like sewer monsters that got hit by the event.
Yeah, like an alligator that turned into like a Ninja Turtle. Like oh my god, Ninja Turtles could exist in this world.
Ninja Turtles could exist in this world theoretically. So there's the dangerous sewers to cross to the other side,
Karate rat.
but definitely you will not get hassled or stopped, or there won't be any problems with the UNSSTF.
Bring the pizza tribute.
But you could run into who knows what, and it could be dangerous. Or you could go across the land through the checkpoint, and as long as you pick up that can, citizen, you will be...
Put it in the bin.
Well, I would... so I turn to the group and I'm just like, we have no reason to fear the new authority coming in. They're only trying to do what's best for everyone.
Yeah, and I don't want to go through the sewers again. No. After last time.
No. I mean, these shoes, I quite like. These are my only pair of shoes now.
I don't trust.
Oh, well, neither do I. But on the other hand, I really don't like trying to scrape dried shit out of the inside of my shoes.
Also, that shadow I saw was big.
Yeah, I had to throw
big.
there.
Okay, well, I think then we need to just be calm. I'm looking at you, Aaron.
But I am the picture of calm and subtlety.
Okay, well, I'm just saying, non-discriminately, you just need to remain calm.
How oiled are you at the moment?
How much?
Surely there's an
How
oil
oiled?
shortage, what with the
Oiled? I'm not oiled right now.
You're not even oiled. Are you completely fearless?
All my oil is at home. I didn't bring any with me.
He's been suffering major withdrawal from oiled chest.
He's gone all flaky, you know.
His skin was no longer able to just maintain its own moisture from all the oil, so he's gone horrible dry skin problems.
Yeah. So I feel like we can very easily pass this checkpoint.
Absolutely. I went through the checkpoint last week. They didn't give me any trouble at all.
Yeah. But you weren't with Grumpy Bum over here.
They called me a nerd.
Well,
You are a nerd.
I mean,
Yeah. You are a nerd.
It's not a bad thing.
Your hand is a glove.
I mean, you kind of personify that a little bit.
They made one of my glasses.
I mean, they are very thick.
They are literally
I need them.
paired with tape. You literally have sticking tape on your glasses to hold them together, okay?
It's
are
duct
living
tape.
in
The duct tape I used was very, very, very good.
Maybe we'll stop by a pharmacy on the way down and see if we can get you a new pair, yeah?
I look horrified at the fact of changing my favorite glasses.
Okay, well, we're never going to win with you, are we?
Oh no.
Oh, no.
So maybe we should stay here then.
No.
Not happening. We
You
definitely
want to
need
stay
to
here
know
with
what's
Stripe?
happening.
Great idea.
Yeah, we should go.
Oh.
Stripe's like literally eating like a fucking like a chew toy or whatever. It's just like making really loud squeaky sounds or whatever. Yeah.
No, he's chewing on like one of my old He-Man toys.
How
Did
did
you like that?
You had a He-Man toy with you when you were
was that the
outside?
one with the rotating face in the chest?
He was many faces, not rotating face man.
I don't know. Oh,
Well, if you go to,
popped off.
that's what it's called. That's his name. He has a name.
Oh, well, yes.
It's my favorite.
Okay. Well, he doesn't have a head at all now, so, you know.
His many faces are being chewed off. Haha!
Not very
Did you actually
tempted.
eat the head? Oh, your dog's going to have some serious toilet trouble in a day or so.
Oh, Strap can eat anything. I've seen him eat like a hose connector before. Pass it right through. Yeah, I know. You eat anything.
I will. Oh, are you talking to Stripe?
Yes.
No, I'll eat anything too.
Oh, my.
Stay away from my He-Man collection.
Whatever you insist. I haven't had time.
So what kind of things do you eat, then?
Mostly anything edible. I mean, I've eaten a phone before. But that was on stage, honestly.
Oh, that's not quite what I was
It was a
Anyway, yes,
sponsorship
no,
thing.
I was thinking, never mind, I was thinking about something else. That's right. Anyway, yes.
Right, the meeting. When's it going to start? I think we'll be late if we don't hurry.
Yes, I think we should go.
Okay.
Let's go.
Do we have access to vehicles still, or they like? How is that? I think.
So the checkpoint is on foot, so you wouldn't be able to bring the vehicle past.
Okay.
And because of basically there has been a lot of changes in the city, and they haven't prioritized like pedestrian. I don't want to say pedestrian. They haven't prioritized civilian access to roads. So there are a lot of roads that, because of construction of the UNSSTF or damage from people with powers or whatever, there are a lot of roads that have not been cleared. You can maneuver with a vehicle through the roads. But most people are just pedestrians now. Most people are wandering around with a shopping cart filled with their only remaining possessions, sad and lonely. But you could take the fire truck, say, if you wanted to the first half of the checkpoint.
Okay. Well, no, I'm not going to take a fire truck. That seems a little ridiculous. That
But
probably
you do
like...
have access to the fire truck. I want to clarify. You do have it.
Okay,
It's
cool.
there. It's
Do
in
we
the
have
garage.
access to like normal vans and stuff like that they would also have? And
I would say
cars?
that there were plenty of abandoned vans that you could have acquired. Truck,
Okay.
van. You want a van? You can have a van.
Yeah, probably just like a van or something. I don't know. But you know, we'll walk there.
All right. So you're gonna walk.
As much as I trust these guys, I don't want to leave a fully functioning vehicle out on the street, especially these days.
Okay, that's actually a totally valid concern. You guys take the walk. It's still raining, but it's turned into a drizzle, so it's not the kind of rain that's intolerable without an umbrella.
Wreckage? I make an umbrella with my blood. No.
I turned myself into it. No, wait, that's a terrible idea.
Fuzzy melts away.
It's after
Yeah.
dark, and
Am I okay? Clarification. Like, I'm only vulnerable to the water when I'm in like the paper form. Yeah.
you're gonna have a form power, which means
Right.
you turn into that form, and then you have the powers associated with it and the
And
weaknesses.
right. Okay.
Okay.
When I'm, like normal.
I'm just gonna grab an umbrella. There's probably one lying around.
Probably in a pile of garbage. You grab an umbrella.
It's like one of those see-through ones with Hello Kitty on it.
It's like
I'll
you
come in
wear
with
it
one of those
above your
umbrellas.
face and see through the thing. Yeah, I've seen that. There's a
You
dog.
guys take your umbrella to the checkpoint. The UNSSTF science facility is like a upscaled bunker. You know those mobile military facilities that are just like a perfect dome.
The
but they're
easiest thing in
long.
the world for the military to erect in cases of emergencies. Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing is that this one is big. Like it is the size of a like a full on warehouse. Only it extends across the entire city.
So it's
Right.
like the Ark of the Covenant holding facility.
Kind of, and it vivisects the city at
top.
what
Man.
it does. Like the effect came through on what wasn't the way the streets were lined up. So buildings have just been knocked down to build this thing.
Okay.
And it crosses the city at what would be an angle for the city, but now it basically determines north and south and east and west for the city. It's just a massive facility that goes exactly along the line. You approach on foot, and in the rain and the drizzle, the massive searchlights that light the line of civilians that get checkpointed from one side to the other and go through. There are soldiers, U.S. military, but they have now become part of the United Nations Science and Security Task Force, so they wear that badge. They have guns that you don't recognize because in the advent of superpowered individuals, AR-15s and M16s were no longer sufficient. There is a new generation of hand guns, rifles, and sniper rifles that outfit the UNSSTF. But more importantly, next to each of these squads is a dog-like robot, bigger than a man, about the size of an upscaled motorcycle. In the wake of superpowered individuals, to the horror of the world, the advent of the villain who can control the mind of a human being came onto the stage. And the response was an explosion in drone science technology. Every squadron is outfitted by a remote-controlled drone that modifies their loadout so that they are not susceptible to any strange form of human-based mind control. Of course, there might be individuals that can control robots as well. So every squad is half a group of humans and half one of these third-generation dog robots. There are rumors about a fourth generation coming out soon.
Are they basically like Big Dog from Boston Dynamics?
Yeah. So Boston Dynamics is basically like, oh, we now have $1 billion to build our robot. I think we can manage.
There's a bunch of people just kicking it constantly. See, it doesn't fall over. It's great.
Well, you've seen these motherfuckers jump like an entire building to chase after somebody. Like they are
like slapped a minigun on them now and shit as well. It's just like
think about if you want to anime something, like base it on the Boston Dynamic dog, and then like put it halfway between that and a Tachikoma from Ghost in the Shell, and that's what you're dealing with.
Did you say these are the third generation?
These are the third generation. The second gens were like, first generation is considered what Boston Dynamics can do now. Second gen was like what came out immediately in response to, we need drones that can help our dudes. And third gen was like, this is actually like really good for what we need now. It's not a panicked rush out job.
See, they're still using the 477Cs.
The what?
The 477Cs, the third generation. It's actually quite interesting. The central core processor was actually built off an ARM chip.
That's the most important part.
what sorry?
Big words. So it's a fancy robot.
Yes.
Okay.
You could call it defensive. I mean, you missed some of the intricacies. But
Hey, you!
I find that the gearing
Cut the
system
chatter.
Oh, sorry, sir.
You guys are approaching the head of the line. The checkpoint starts just outside the grounds of the facility, and then there's another checkpoint on the other side after the bridge that goes over the science facility. You won't have to get checkpointed there. You only have, like, there's two bridges, one that goes south and one that goes north, and you get checkpointed before crossing the bridge on both sides.
Sure.
So you only get checkpointed once.
Customs. This is basically its own country in here, right?
And no, it's all one country, but they checkpoint you here because they're very worried about people doing things to the science facility.
Okay.
There are secrets in there, basically. There are, like, the drones have come out of partnerships with the science facility. Somehow the explosion in robotics is in part due to the research being done on the event. And there are all sorts of, aliens and the Mayans and, like, the rumors about what are inside UNSSTF science facilities span the list. So you approach the checkpoint, and as you do, you can see standing up on a tall black pillar the pink light of a VDV camera. And it's a VDV camera because of the pink light. It emits a wavelength that you don't understand. None of you know the specifics, but somehow the picture shows exactly on your body where you were vivisected, glowing by the event. And that's how they're like, this person might have powers. There are some people who have been vivisected by the event and claim to not have powers and cannot be verified to have powers. So they can't just arrest you on the spot for being affected.
Is there like a registration or something that they're forcing for this stuff?
The Mutant Registration Act. Dun, dun, dun.
Speaking of,
I have a question, and this would have definitely been something that we would have been aware of coming into this.
Mhm.
Is the fact that all 5 of us are affected, would that be like a red flag? Should we have spread ourselves out throughout the line?
I mean, that's up to you guys. Like, do you want to 5 dudes in a row be, or are you going to specifically be like, hey, I'm going to be in a different spot in the line. You go over here, you go over here.
I feel like that's an insight roll, maybe?
And on top of that, I will need to know what order you're in, regardless of whether or not you are doing
Well,
that.
I'm going to go first regardless. I feel like I would be very
all right.
trusting of these people.
I feel like whatever order we go in, I feel like I'm close to and behind, like close to Aaron and Dirk, because they're like, well, actually, Aaron's not that bad. Like, as long as you're not doing weird powers, you should be pretty okay to get your way through stuff with your actor skills. So probably somewhere near Dirk, just
You
as
feel,
a
you feel the need to babysit him a little bit.
a little bit.
All right. So if anybody wants to do an insight roll to see if you need to spread out in the line, you can go ahead and click insight. That's fine. But we're going to discuss Sydney being first in the line regardless. Dirk and Sydney, based on your insight rolls, I will say that it's not going to help or harm very much in either direction. They probably get quite a few people that are in a row but don't know each other. The bad idea would be to let them know that you're all in a group. Like, regardless of whether or not you all have the line, just, pretend that you're single individuals is probably the key there. So Sydney, you approach the checkpoint. The first thing is a metal detector. Do you have any metal on you?
I mean, belt, keys.
Right. You put it in a tray to the side. Is there anything that you can't?
So what is the amendment rights that have changed since then?
They're being announced today, and you have not yet been.
So he probably wouldn't personal carry.
Okay.
Especially like how, like if we knew we're going through a checkpoint, it's kind of like you don't bring a fucking pocket knife to the airport when you're gonna get on a plane, right? It's the same
that's
shit.
Fucking,
like
it's instigative. Like even if I'm allowed, it's like you knew you were coming, here, buddy.
That's right. So I mean, even if I do own guns or whatever, I mean that hasn't been decided yet for my character, but for the most part, he wouldn't personal carry. He might have a pocket knife, but probably not. He probably wouldn't bring it here. And it's probably like he's got like maybe keys, and maybe they're like bigger than normal because it's a fire station key.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Makes sense. Yep.
But other than that, it's just wallet, keys, belt, maybe a watch.
So you pass through the metal detector, your tray of keys, and your like belt buckle are in
the only thing that might come up is like, I don't know, like maybe I have like some sort of like, I was gonna say like maybe I would have forgotten about it, but maybe I have like a razor or something like that somewhere, like maybe in my wallet or whatever. I feel like I would need something like that.
They run your wallet, your keys, and your belt buckle through like an X-ray thing, just like at the airport. And this is all set up outside under like tent coverings, basically. They walk you through the metal detector. They have you have your arms out wide. They have a scanner for like bombs, and like at the airport again, you put your hands forward. They take a naked picture of you, and the VDV camera scans you. And when they scan you, they're like, step out of line, and over to like a desk where there's a guy with a thing, and there are several armed guards.
Okay. Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Please step forward.
Oh, yes, I'm next. So I was like, just let me put my keys in here, and I lift up my shirt, and this championship belt. Don't mind that. You guys might have heard of me, Aaron Wright, the Spartan. champion of Canada. No, oh, sorry.
They're helmeted and like visored faces. Like you can't even tell if they're making any emotion. On
Like
the
one
other
guy
side.
maybe like smokes a little bit. He's like,
Step through the metal detector, please.
Okay.
And VDV camera scans you, and he does the same thing. Step out of line.
Yeah. Where do you want me to go?
Over there, by the desks.
Ah, cool.
An attendant will call you over shortly.
okay, out of curiosity, can we see where we were vivisected?
The
Or is
VDV
that-
camera can, but you
So
you probably
it's not like we get illuminated in pink light and the vivisection shows up for everyone to see. It's just kind of
no. So the camera is like it's sort of like an infrared camera. It puts out infrared and then gets it back, but it's putting out something and gets it back, and that's how it gets an image.
moonbeam lasers. Go.
Moonbeam lasers.
Nazi.
The attendant at the out of line where you were called over to some desks waves over Sydney.
Okay, I walk over to him, and I'm like, afternoon.
Please have a seat, sir.
Okay. I sit down.
May I ask your name, sir?
Yeah, it's Sydney Joshua.
Sydney Joshua. Did you have an occupation before the event, sir?
I was a serviceman. Is that what
In
they call
what-
them? Like,
No, they would say firefighter, actually.
Okay.
Or they would say firemen.
I was a fireman at
Alright.
Station 3.
All right. Sydney Joshua, firefighter. Yes, I can see. I'm pulling up your social security number right now, sir.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just happened to have it. Yep.
And can you please confirm for me your age?
29.
What is your current place of residence, sir?
I am residing within the fire station. Since
Interesting.
my domicile was quarantine.
Interesting. I'm sorry to hear that. Sir, are you aware that you may be afflicted by the event?
I am aware that I was close to it. I'm not so aware of anything else.
Sir, are you aware of any strange symptoms, phenomena, abilities, changes in mental state or physical state since the event that you have experienced?
Not to my knowledge, no.
He sort of looks up from the paper and
I mean,
Sir, what
for
is-
me, it's just coagulating blood, so like, it's not like it's completely obvious. But yeah, I mean, it's obvious to me because of.
he does give you the eye and he says, "All right, sir. Please have a lovely day. You may proceed through the checkpoint at your leisure. Here are your wallet, keys, belt buckle."
Thank you. It says Banff on it. No, it doesn't.
Sydney, what time is it?
Who's next in your group in line?
Probably me then.
Okay.
All right, so several normal people have come through now at this point, and they wave you forward and says, "Sir, please put your wallet, keys, other possessions in the tray."
So I like.
have the most. You have to have
Yeah.
the most.
Out comes like an Atari Lynx. There's like the full pack of like the complete collection of games. Like a shiny Charizard card. This one of those massive.
Yeah, because you weren't sure if it was metal or not, so you had to put it down there. You're like, I don't know if this will beat, but like.
Oh, that's a medal.
I mean, yeah, it's,
Army,
it's
Swiss
like,
Army knife, one of the big ones with like all the stuff on there.
screwdriver and stuff, multi-tool probably.
Spoon.
Yeah, multi-tool. There's like a bag of USB flash drives. my
Flash
phone.
drives.
There's like an old hard drive for an IBM compatible.
So you step through, and one of the guards, you can hear him again go, "Fucking nerd."
I just like.
You get scanned. You get then you get VDV scanned, and they ask you to step out of line.
So every time we cross this happens, right?
They call us out.
If
So
you've done it in the past, every time you get VDV scanned, and they note that you are, they ask you those same fucking questions.
okay, so I'm probably used to. I maybe once or twice crossed it, and I just.
I feel like they should have some sort of like, vivisection form that we can fill out that we can just bring with us so we can like get past this bullshit quicker. But...
that's vivisection form 2B. It's the blue one.
That may be part of the new Bill of Rights, for all you know. So then they call the Spartan, Aaron Wright, up to the desk at this point. Sir,
Yes.
please have a seat.
Okay.
Can I get your name, please, sir?
Aaron Wright, you might have heard of me, the Spartan, champion of Canada City.
You look up, and this is a guy that, if you've been through the checkpoint before, has interviewed you before, and he has an exasperated look on his face when you say that. He says, "Sir, what was your profession before the event, if you had one?"
Professional entertainer, wrestler, champion.
People person.
Champion. What's your job, champion?
Sir, can you confirm your age, please?
28.
And where are you presently living, sir?
Well, in Canada City, the whole city is my home. As long as people are my family.
Of course, sir. Sir, are you aware that you may have been afflicted by the event?
How so?
Our VDV camera has shown positive identification that you were intersected by the phenomenon that struck this city and indeed the world 8 months ago.
No, I don't even recall any situation like that.
You have no memory of the event 8 months ago.
Well, I don't remember being affected by it, to clarify.
Have you developed any symptoms?
Except for these guns. Not really.
Any changes in personality, behavior, capability, bodily function, or shape, size, or color?
I mean, I'm a little out of shape. I mean, I've been trying to watch my weight, what I eat, but, without my...
Sir, you may take your possessions and proceed through the checkpoint. Have a lovely day.
You too.
There's gotta be a superpower for that. Just fucking fast talk your way out of it by talking about your fucking your dietary needs.
Who's next in the group?
I was after Dirk.
Shut down, Fuzzy. Shut down. Sit down.
Too busy reading a book and lying. People have walked around you while you're reading. You're like, oof.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
probably
right.
actually, yeah, I probably was ahead in the line, but I just got distracted by a book because it's just I'm just.
All right, so they put your possessions out. They scan you. They call you to the side. Nothing out of the ordinary there, because you are VDV positive.
Sure am.
They call
V.
Dirk over to the interviewer.
Hello?
Hello, sir. Please have a seat.
I try and look relaxed.
I love it. Sir, can I have your name, please?
Dirk
Last name?
Pecksmeat. It's very bright in here.
Yes, sir. Sir, can you tell me your profession before the event, if you had one?
I was second level IT technician.
Of course you were. Can you confirm your age?
I'm 35.
Holy fuck.
Really?
I did not think it would be that high. That's impressive.
Right. Sir, are you aware that you may have been afflicted by the event?
So they told me last time.
Right. And as you answered last time, have you experienced any symptoms, changes in ability, capability, personality, behavior,
Yes.
physical changes?
Yes.
Really? What have your changes been?
Flaky skin on my scalp. I'm lactose intolerant. Headaches. I sometimes have night terrors.
Sir, are you saying you were not lactose intolerant before the event?
I was a little bit, yes. I could eat hard cheeses, but I can't eat hard cheeses anymore.
This guy is stone faced. It's like,
It makes me poop sometimes.
sir, you may proceed to the checkpoint. Please take your possessions. And he puts the tray back on the table. And have a lovely day.
I have a pocket for everything.
So it just waits while you do that. And while you do that, the next person in line, Tiffany. Ma'am?
What? Oh, sorry. Hello. Yes. Hi.
Ma'am,
Hi.
you'll have to put the book down and step through the scanner.
Oh, wait. Let me find my bookmark.
Question, Fuzzy. How often before the vivisection did you sit on a bus and then ride it all the way to the end because you didn't get off at your stop and you're too engrossed in a book?
A non-zero amount.
Because I imagine that just by this scene, I imagine that happens to your character a lot.
Yeah, it's just like, it was a good book. Okay, so I'll just be like...
You get scanned by the camera and asked to step out of line. At which point, Aubrey Vaughn is called up to the interviewer.
Hello?
Sir, please have a seat.
Sits down. He succeeds in looking comfortable.
Can you give me your name, sir?
Aubrey Ron. He said that right. That was my fault. Aubrey.
Aubrey Vaughn. Aubrey, what was your profession before the event?
Entrepreneur.
That's not a profession. I make small businesses, okay?
And can you give me your age?
25.
All right. Are you aware that you may have been affected by the event?
That's what they say.
Really? And can you tell me whether or not you have experienced any changes in personality, behavior, capability, physical form since the event? Of any kind, shape, or capacity?
Sadly, no.
Sadly, no. All right.
I keep hoping I'm going to get something purple and knobby. Doesn't work.
Well, sir, you may proceed to the checkpoint. Have a lovely day.
There's definitely like 2 or 3 loose condoms in the bin of things that were.
Oh, God, Jesus.
They're wrapped, but they're like not like. There's like.
Oh, okay, they're not.
It's like
No,
I
they're
keep
not
them as
used.
mementos.
Okay, that is.
Wednesday
They're
written
not
on
that gross. Not that gross. It's just a second level.
Okay, that's much better. That is not as bad as I.
Always be prepared.
And so finally, Tiffany is called up to interview. Please have a seat, ma'am.
Yes.
Can I get your name, please?
Tiffany Jones.
All right, Tiffany. What was your profession before the event?
Librarian.
Oh, really? And can you give me your age, Tiffany?
30.
17.
Well, you're looking lovely, madam.
Thank you.
Now, I'm sorry to inform you that you may have been affected by the event.
Oh dear.
Have you noticed any changes since then? Physical, mental, any kind?
No, I've lost a little bit of weight, but I think that's just stress, to be honest with you. So.
Well, there's a common problem in the city now. Do you currently have a place to stay in Kansas City?
Yes, I'm staying with a friend at the moment.
Oh, boyfriend?
No.
Lover? Mistress?
I don't.
Like,
No, I'm single at the moment, I'm afraid.
boyfriend? You got a cute boyfriend, you know?
Well, all right. You can pass through the checkpoint. And if you
Only
need
if you
anything
give me
at all,
them digits.
if you need anything at all, I've written a number that you can contact me on the sheet here. I'm stationed in the city, so if I'll be happy to make sure you get any supplies that you need.
What was your name? I'm sorry.
Oh, my name is Vince.
Vince. Nice to meet you, Vince.
Vince
Nice to
man.
meet you, Tiffany.
Shake hands. Nice to meet you. I'll hang on to this. Thank you very much. That's very kind.
Have a lovely day, Tiffany.
You too. Bye. Ooh, book. Yes. Cool. There's one place. Okay, good.
He watches you as you go. And the 5 of you find yourselves on the other side of the checkpoint. having successfully, all of you, claimed not to have any powers, which is probably the smartest thing to do.
Well, I feel like it's more of a case
I
that
said
we
I
haven't...
lost a bit of weight, right?
I honestly think it's more of a case that, at least for me, it was a case that I haven't really explored cutting myself too much.
And I think it's a case for Aubrey does not actually realize that his newfound technical skill is a result of that event.
It's been, I'll clarify, it's been 8 months. And part of the reason for that time skip is all of you are intimately aware of the scope
okay. Well then,
Oh,
fuck what I
just
said.
refuse to believe that it's not just natural ability.
that. Yeah, you're totally capable of being incorrect. That you're just like, man, why didn't I ever start doing incredible science before?
I mean, I never really had a motivation to do mad science before.
Yeah.
Now that we're living out of a firehouse and, you know, we got a lot more free time.
Derek, 24781. We just went through everybody's character creation. You should come back later for the VOD that'll go up right after we're done and watch that again. But the quick rundown is Dave has Dead Man Wonderland blood control. Kelsa has super science intelligence, can make gadgets. Fuzzy can turn into paper and get powers that are paperish.
And chop off a motherfucker's head with a really bad paper cut.
Peachy subsumes gaming, retro gaming stuff, and then gets more video game themed powers as he does it, which is cool. And Nightmare basically has Bane powers. He has a substance that he consumes and makes him Hulk out, but he also loses emotional control when that happens. So he has teenager powers, is what we joked about.
Teenage powers. Teenage powers.
Teenage kicked right through the night.
You guys are on the right side of the city to go to the industrial district.
Yeah.
And go to this meeting.
Question: was Vince like a military guy or science guy?
He's uniformed and had UNSSTF on his uniform.
Can you elaborate on what that means, please? Because you've said it a bunch now.
And I've also said what it means: United Nations Science and Security Task Force.
Okay.
We're going to forget that like a million more times.
You're going to forget that a million times. It's fine. I made it simple. I had a friend who was like, you need to make it a word. You need to make the acronym a word and make it complicated. And I was like, my players are not going to remember that. So it's just the UNSTIF, United Nations Science and Security.
See, now you can't remove the German Nazi symbolism from this.
Limp.
Did he have like a rank or anything?
Yeah, he was probably like a sergeant.
So everybody's calling him the stiff, the floppies then, because they're like the unstiff, the floppy, right?
Yeah, I mean, in fact, it is now canon that the slang term for the unstiff is the floppies.
Or the flops.
I love it.
Don't get caught by a floppy.
Fucking flops coming.
Don't copy.
The flops are coming.
That floppy.
It's not the flops, it's the flops. Oh my god, it's brilliant. It works.
Oh man, way to knock that out of the park, Fuzzy. So you guys,
I got a phone number. I think he gave me his phone number.
From Sergeant McMahon. I don't like him.
I thought it was quite pleasant actually.
It's pretty cute. You should go for it.
He called me a nerd.
Well, you are a nerd.
No, and he bent my Charizard.
What?
Well, that was a bit mean.
What's a Charizard?
I like get it out of its like special protector, and like the very corner just looks a little bit bent.
Why do you carry it around with you if it's that important to you?
Because it's very important. What if I need it?
For what?
What if? Let's face it, your dog does have a habit of eating all his things. So
Look, Stripe knows the pecking order.
That's why I tried to keep this He-Man figure on me. I pull out like Ram Man.
We just get a
You have a lot of
flashback
pockets.
to Stripe right now, just like eating like something of his.
he has a lot of pockets.
He's
He
like,
has a dimensional pocket power.
yeah, you probably. But these guys know what it is. It looks like I pull stuff from.
Yeah, that's a good
pockets.
question. Do we know each other's powers?
You've been living together for 8 months. I assume it was part of like, hey, can any of you make food? And it's like, no, okay.
I wouldn't want to eat anything that these guys make. out of
You
their
have a
bodies.
Twix bar.
Yeah.
I mean, I can cook.
You can just imagine the first time your power is just like, I feel a bit weird. Does this look weird? Do I look weird? I feel weird.
Yeah, so there were basically 8 months of teething problems, and you've all sort of sorted that out.
I imagine like I was maybe working on the fire engine and it like and nicked my thumb and it's just like, oh, what the fuck? It's just blood like running down my arm.
And then you're like, well,
constantly.
I'll just leave it, and then you're like working on it. He's like, man, I need a fucking wrench, and then all of a sudden it's like, and it's a
And it's
wrench.
like, a wrench appears in front of me. Like, thanks, I grab it, but it's like, what the fuck? It's
Made out
like
of
floating.
Made out of
Yeah,
blood.
it's like-
Oh, that's good.
All right, yeah. So feel free to flash back to the previous 8 months at any point to describe how you learned to do a thing or what you learned about the world. You guys head into the industrial district, warehouses. Canada City had a robust, coal power production, industry grade slaughterhouses, shipping, and all sorts of stuff. It just has an entire portion of the city that was very, blue collar. I work on the factory that smelts the steel, and it's an entire district of the city. And you head in, and this place is dark. This is one of those places that no longer doing free trade in and out of the city because of the walls. It just shut down. What's the point of any of this? Maybe a facility here or there got confiscated by the Unstiff because it was valuable to them for some reason. But for the most part, power isn't supplied to this part of the city anymore, and you can see trash can fires dotting the alleyways as that's basically what's going on here. Gangs have moved in. There's tags everywhere, and no one's bothered to clean it up. And you guys happen to know in particular that there is a construction site that was going to be a new factory, and it's in the sort of the basement of this building that isn't even finished. That this meeting is happening, and so you head there, and as you do, those of you with higher awareness.
Before we go into that far,
Mhm.
I would like to.
Your mic's doing that crackly thing again.
I know, but what do you want to do? Okay,
First, I want my mic to not do the crackly thing.
it's not doing it,
Fantastic.
and you want to do what with your thing?
I want to be like, after we get past the checkpoint and I don't know, half a mile down the road or whatever, I want to be like, all right, Dirk, give him back to me. Where, flashback to before we left, knowing we were going through this checkpoint, I handed him my EMP discus in order to put it in a pocket dimension so we can get it past the checkpoint.
You have to give you some time to find it.
All right.
All
He
right.
said
so-
not breaking the DM's game. Because we
Yeah.
haven't.
we haven't set out powers yet, so we're not using anything for this social interaction. Second half of this episode.
I have it. That's what
yeah.
I'm saying.
You have it. It is produced as it was previously hidden. The
won't
veil
need to
of
be used,
suspension of
but-
disbelief has not been broken at all. The fourth wall is not. Everything's on fire. Everything is fine. So you head to the facility, the unfinished building. And as you do, those of you with high awareness, without even making a check, are capable of noticing that several of those trash can fires and several of those hobos don't look particularly hobo-ish, and they are eyeing you as you
Well
head.
shaven, not a piece of dirt on them.
I mean, they're wearing rags, but so are most people. But they're like, they don't look. I'm incapable of housing myself. They're like,
Well-
all right, who's that? Are they heading to the thing? Are they unstiff? Are they floppies? Are they the flops?
Are they wearing military boots? Can we see that they're wearing something that would be unstiff, or do they look like a
No, they look like thugs.
Okay.
They look like
Weird and stuff.
Do firefighters have slacks, stuff they wear when they're in the house, but they're not they're not on duty or something?
Isn't it like the blue kind of over clothes?
So what firefighters do, because they have to throw on their stuff very quickly, is they typically wear the pants all the time.
Yeah.
If it's not the middle of summer, they'll wear the pants and then have just a blue normal shirt is what they wear underneath.
Yeah.
but like you know what the boots, the pants, and the overcoat of the actual I'm going into a fire look like, and that's about as far as standard.
No, I wouldn't be
issues.
wearing that. I'd be wearing like whatever they like. If I'm you're required to be there, but I'm not on call or whatever.
Uh-huh.
Like if I'm there doing maintenance or something like that, you'd wear like sweatpants or whatever. Like, is there a fireman issue sweatpants or something like that people can recognize?
Yeah,
No, it wouldn't be recognizable as after that point. And to answer someone's question in the chat, they've been looking at the Metamorphica. 852 is Invincible Buddha. The mutant can become almost invincible by concentrating and doing nothing by meditating. While meditating, the first attack after pause is reflected back at the attacker, who suffers damage. It's basically like you have Buddhist monk powers that make no sense, but are as a mutation they make no sense. But you gain like perfect clarity over your body and mind, so you can deflect attacks and also be physically unstoppable and control your body temperature and all that sort of stuff. And this is my Gekio no Jutsu or whatever. So, getting back to the game, you guys notice that this event is being watched by people. In any way does that deter you from going?
No. Like, if I notice that, I mean, it's... Like, this is sort of like... Like, are we... How... I mean, it's been 8 months.
I think, if anything, I think this is, like, why I wanted to have my little device. Mm-hmm. Because, like, I feel like in some way it's, like, obviously... It's in the device itself is in some way obviously not technology. It's definitely created by weird powers. Like there's something distinctly mad science about it.
Yeah, I mean it's clearly science that's beyond what happened before the event, and that's all it really needs to be, right? Like, that's it. It looks like an alien plate thing. It's weird. It glows. Probably it's got neon for reasons. Yeah. So yeah.
I kind of want to have it out and just kind of like nod to the people that are looking at us as sort of the we're here but we belong here kind of a thing.
That doesn't appear to be necessary. They're just watching you go. And as you enter the basement, you see that there is a assortment of people that have taken up as what best can be described as seats, but it's usually like one of those concrete circles that they just happen to be sitting on that's just there, a pile of dirt that's vaguely inclined enough to sit on. And there are probably... just here even, there's probably 2.5, 3 dozen that are currently here. Some of them are very clearly mutants. Like
tails and shit.
Tails, and there's a dude who's like all rags, and underneath you can't see, but it writhes, and you're like, oh man, I'm so sorry. Purple people, it's envision in your mind a meeting of X-Men mutants from X-Men, and it is all of those, some who look perfectly normal and some who are clearly poor guy.
Brilliant.
There are work lights set out, and very clearly a 52-inch LCD screen, television, maybe a monitor, and it's been set up and there are wires running around. And you can see that there are a couple people milling around that. They're sort of discussing, and they've got a board out and they're preparing stuff. This is about the time that the meeting was going to happen. Where do you guys sit? Does it matter? Do you spread out? Is anything important about how you sort of take a position in this meeting, or do you stay by the door? What's the plan here?
I would go up the front. I don't have any problems.
I would probably stick really close to Aubrey. I'm just used to her babysitting me. Even though I'm the oldest one of the group, I'm like this man-child.
Yeah, and he's definitely more than happy to keep an eye on you.
There's a non-zero chance that somebody's going to offer me a seat because, the power of boobs compels you.
Well, yeah, there is someone who has a legit chair. It looks like it's been outside forever, and instead of inside where it's supposed to be. And he was sitting on this chair, and he's like, "Oh, hey, do you want to sit here?"
Did Aaron not bring any of his chairs with him?
Thank you.
And then I don't. I might. I just kind of like glance at that because it's like the metal folding chair. Kind of look at
You
it.
get triggered when you see it. You're like,
You know the serial number of it.
There's going to be an epic fight in the old wrestling rink at some point in this entire series, and it's going to involve him like he picks up a folding chair and like accidentally breaks it in half because he's super strong. So then he's just like, oh well, I'll just pick up this like entire stadium row of chairs and then knock the shit out of it. It'll happen. Don't worry.
Yeah. That's not what the chair is for. I'm sitting on it.
who sits in a chair?
My legs are tired.
So you guys sort of just, you mill about, you sort of integrate into the crowd as if you're not a group. And some of the lights go down, but most of the lights pointing to the front stay on. And a man steps forward. He's probably mid-20s. And you notice that underneath the emergency clothing and other rags that sort of make up his current get-up, he has the remnants of a suit coat. Like it's still there for warmth. He's not wearing a dress shirt underneath or anything, but it's there. It's like, all right, everybody, we're going to get started now. This is probably everybody who's going to make it here in time. As you know, traveling in the city can be kind of difficult, but it's very important that we get started. I'd like to welcome you all, and please know that attending this meeting is not binding. It's not committing to anything. We're just trying to spread the word and get it out there. We ask that you not repeat anything you hear today to the authorities, but we can't stop you, and we don't intend to. This is based on good faith, and we have some interesting things to tell you. My name is Mr. Price. I used to own this building, and I'm stuck in here with the rest of you. I was affected by the event, and I now have powers. And as such, I feel like a second-class citizen. And there are some, yeah. Very subtle, though, because he's sort of keeping a low tone to this speech. Being unable to leave this city is totally unacceptable. Regardless of all other things, we have not committed a crime. Some among us have used their new gifts to give the rest of us a bad reputation, but that does not mean that we should now be guilty until proven innocent. There's some, yeah. And the guy who is all rags and underneath is just something hideously writhing, sort of hulks. He's big. Out of his sitting position, he says, "Oh, I'm not sure I agree with that. Some of us are a danger to ourselves and others." And there are some other, it's a more tempered, but Mr. Price is like, I understand that there are reasons to be careful, and that's fair. But we shouldn't lose our right to free passage. We should be allowed to leave this city, and it's very clear that the UN SSTF is not going to allow us to do that. There's some more agreements. Those of you who are interested, we believe it is fair, just, and right for us to leave the city by any means necessary. And we intend to make a run on the wall. And there's a lot of hushed murmurs. Oh, I don't think it's a good idea. So what about that?
I'm gonna stand up at that point, and I'm gonna say, "And what are you gonna do when you get over that wall?"
If we get over the wall, then we can go our own way. We can disappear into the country. VDV cameras are not common in the interior or places that weren't affected by the event. Mexico, Canada. We can make peaceful, humble lives for ourselves as ordinary citizens. And it's at that point that the writhing thing laughs. Oh, ain't nowhere I can go and be ordinary. And several of the obviously mutated people agree. And another one says, "Why should I run on the wall if I'm going to be treated the same anywhere I go?" Well, I can't speak to what it's like outside of the city. In fact, none of us can. And that's part of it. They haven't re-upped internet connection outside of the city. They haven't maintained cell towers. We get the media that they give us. Who knows what it's like outside? Who knows what it's like in other countries, affected or otherwise? And there's more.
So I'm gonna then speak up again. I'm just like, what makes you think your trust in the powers that have control right now are so bad? Why do you feel the need to rebel?
I feel that goes without saying. I mean, we all grew up with 80s sci-fi dystopian classics, a walled city with no freedom of passage, checkpoints with armed guards, and the slightest infraction, and our kind are immediately arrested and never heard from again. No word of a trial. I've had friends who have knocked over a trash can in view of the UNSSTF and never be seen again.
They made me drink milk.
What?
Anyway, we should not have to live in fear of their drones. We should not have to live in fear of imaginary boundaries that the second we cross, we disappear to some sort of gulag.
So you need to think about the other side of this equation. What about everyone else who doesn't have powers? Do you know how risky we look to them? This is a natural reaction to something that the powers that be do not understand.
That wall keeps normal people in as well. And normal people are just as oppressed as us by this new system.
So you running at the wall with everyone here is going to fix their problems?
Showing that the wall can't keep us in any way is just like showing that draconian spying doesn't prevent terrorism. Showing that these authoritarian measures and procedures do not actually produce results will inspire, especially an American population that is grounded on the principles of freedom, that we should not lose our rights to stop something that cannot be stopped. The UNSSTF should be working with us to contain and arrest and bring to justice those among us who would do wrong, rather than simply throwing us all away in a jail cell in case we break the law. And the crowd is moving in his direction. They're increasingly convinced by his opinions, and more positive murmurs of agreement are following his speech.
And what about those who can't control their powers?
Those who cannot control their powers, it is up to them to make the decision whether or not they submit willingly to UN Science Division.
That right there is the problem in your logic. You assume that everyone who can control their powers and everyone who cannot are not within the same confines. Let's say that you, sir, I don't know what your power is. It doesn't even need to be described. But let's say something triggers you emotionally and you outburst and you harm innocent people. What then? Are you responsible for handing yourself in? No, you're probably going to run on the wall, like you've already mentioned.
That, what you've described is no different than someone who personal carries, sir. If I can control my powers, which I can, then an emotional outburst in which I harm others with them is my fault. But that doesn't mean that everyone who personal carries needs to be quarantined, checkpointed, and arrested at the slightest drop of legal infringement. This would be no different than forcing people to submit for medical treatment because they are different than the status quo. It used to happen with homosexuals, that they would be forced to submit to medical treatment because they were sick. Now, I'm not sick. And if another one among us is incapable of controlling his powers, then it's up to him to decide whether or not he needs help. But for those of us who can, it is not fair to be presumed guilty before a trial.
All right, during all of this, I nudge Dirk, who's standing next to me. I'm like, did you ever want to see Bahamas?
Do you ever want to see the what?
The Bahamas.
I used to have a Humvee. It was yellow.
He's offering to give you a Hummer.
That's a little different.
I don't like the walls.
Do you want to get out of here?
Yes.
I don't know if it's a good idea. I mean, it seems awfully dangerous to break out of here. I mean,
I haven't been on Facebook for 8 months.
They'll probably let's just. Well,
They probably shut down my Tumblr account.
No, dear, that is bad. I don't know. I mean, I'd quite like to stay and look after the library because I mean, I've managed to keep the books in fairly good nick, but I just don't. I don't know.
They have libraries out there.
There are other libraries.
We've had plenty of time to discuss this, and those who wish to leave and have no interest are free to do so at this time. But we are now going to proceed with some of our information, share our intel freely, and I think in the process, convince some of you that are still on the fence. We have footage of how the wall is defended, of how the 100-foot perimeter is maintained. That is not only ruthless and authoritarian, but very telling about its weak points and how we might escape this city. And the TV turns on. And you see what is essentially a camera, vertically shot, of course, from behind a corner. And you see a patrol of soldiers with one of their robot drones. And they're patrolling the 100-foot expanse. You can see on the wall in the watchtowers that there are others there as well. And they're patrolling. And out of one of the alleys that comes up onto this this artificial perimeter that's been set up, a dog runs out. A little mongrel, something that's surviving on the scraps in the alleys. And is very friendly with the soldiers. And the soldiers stop, and they sort of play with it for a little while. And they like take out their MRE or whatever and give it a little bite or what, and the dog is just on cloud 9. And a Humvee drives up. And the door gets thrown open, and out steps gray-haired, scarred, definitely in charge looking motherfucker. And there's no audio, but you can see that he's having an interaction with the soldiers, and they all snap to attention immediately when he shows up. And the dog is just sitting there rolling around in the dirt. And the guy in charge starts shouting at them, starts saying something, gesturing. And he's doing a sort of thing where he says something and he points to one of the soldiers, and the soldier snaps to him and is like, yo, and says something. And he's nodding. And he takes out his sidearm and shoots the dog dead.
The soldier?
The guy in charge.
Okay.
And the soldiers all are they all jump. Even though they're soldiers, they all jump because they're not expecting it. And the man snaps around and starts to go back into the Humvee, and the video pauses, and then like pictures within pictures up into the upper left, and Price talks, and he says, "This is Major Robert Marius. He's in charge of the battalion maintaining the blockade on Canada City. He is
I
in
have a
charge."
question. Sorry. You know the drones in the video we watched?
Mm-hmm.
Are they the Mark III, the current ones?
The video that you just saw was Mark III. So it was within the last few months that this must have happened. This is Major Robert Marius in charge of the security division of the U.S. or UNSSTF in Canada City. He is ruthless and maintains the perimeter on the wall without discretion. Any living thing that steps in within those 100 feet is to be shot dead. Dead, without a trial. Animals are one thing, but I have seen people, normal, innocent, unafflicted people, gunned down in that perimeter. Those of you who feel that we shouldn't run against the wall, that is your prerogative. But that wall is as much a symbol of an authoritarian, ruthless, and evil man as it is a wall that we must tear down. At this point, there are like 2 or 3 people who leave, but most of the people are like, yeah, something's got to be done.
Can I do some sort of check to see if he's telling the truth when he said he's seen people? Maybe?
Absolutely. Any of you can do an insight check against this guy at any point to see if he's lying.
I'm going to do insight as well.
I'm on it.
Ooh.
All right. 21. Oh, bigger than 20. It is possible.
Giggity.
Let's see. 1, 2. Yep, everybody's done one. Wait, have you done one, Spartan?
No, I didn't. I have no reason to believe he's lying.
Okay, you're allowed not to roll. Those of you who rolled 19, 20, and 21, you're sure he's telling the truth when he says he's seen someone gunned down.
Oh, there's actually only 2 people.
Right, right, because that first one is a different insight check.
Yeah.
Yes, you are certain that he is telling the truth that someone was gunned down.
Well, yeah, I mean, they tried to escape a quarantine.
So he's certainly not lying that he's seen someone shot dead. At least as far as you
Mr. Price, you said a word earlier that I didn't quite get. What is prerogative?
I'm sorry. Prerogative means like compelling, a motive, a reason. Your own prerogative is your own reason, your own motive.
Oh, okay.
It means it's up to you. Yeah, no problem. Right. So then he goes into like laying out some intel about the wall, and we'll sort of gloss over the specifics because it sort of becomes a presentation at this point. And there's some tactics involved. And as it goes on, a few people pull away and bleed away. And when he's done with his little presentation, he's like, all right, everyone, we've gathered together some extra supplies. And as a thank you for staying around and listening, we have a bit of an a la carte. And they sort of like wheel in the table that has some food on it. I mean, it's still all the shitty disaster relief food that you can get, but
There's a lot of it.
There's a lot of it, and there are times when there's no spaghetti flavor because it just didn't come in the last shipment or whatever, and they have all of the flavors already just in case, just to make it kind of nice. And at this point, you're capable of mingling, and it was where we will end this episode with the capacity to mingle with everyone who's shown up at the party at the top of next episode.
Okay.
Awesome.
So let's do some shout-outs. Let's start off with Miss Fuzzy Freaks.
Oh god, me. Right, okay. Hello, I'm Fuzzy Freaks. I do fuzzy things at twitch.tv/fuzzy freaks. I'm currently cracked out on RimWorld. I played Inside today. It's very weird, but very good.
It's-
So at the end,
oh,
it's
that's
very
the
weird. By the people who made Limbo.
Limbo
Yep.
guys. Yeah.
Yeah, gameplay is like tight as fuck. Animation.
It looks like quite a good game.
Yeah, the ending was, but
How long did it last? 4 hours?
No spoilers.
yeah, about 3.5. But I didn't find any of the secrets, so I was just sort of,
Okay.
because I'm not much of a secret finder. I'm just like, whee! But
Speaking about Secret Finder, let's talk to Peachy Pixel 8.
The secret finder himself.
your segues are terrible.
They're the best. They're the best.
You haven't seen Ace Wolves. Hey guys, Peach Pixel 8, thanks for watching. Hit the follow button. It's like there somewhere. I have no idea where I am on the screen, but it's somewhere.
Directly to
Hit
your
that
lower
follow.
left, as a matter of fact. Right
If you
towards your
like-
microphone.
There, exactly. There, exactly there. It's floating within. No, I play video games. So if you like video games, follow me. If you like role play, I do a show on Sunday, Blood and Mist, on Wax Stevens' channel, and we do another show which is called The Northern Winds on a Monday on Ace Wolf's channel, Wolves Go Raw. If you follow my channel, I always host anyway, so you can find some more great RP.
Speaking about great RP, let's talk to Mr. Nightmare. How you doing, sir?
Hello, everyone. I'm Nightmare. I play also a lot of video games. I'm currently in WoW because I'm addicted to World of Warcraft cocaine. I only RP on this channel, so if you want to see more adventures of Aaron Wright the Spartan, come find me here, and be sure to hit that follow button for
You
more.
excited for the Legion, bro?
I am actually very excited for Legion.
Yeah.
That's why I started playing it again.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've never been able to get into WoW. And speaking about not being able to get into WoW, Miss Kelsa, do you play WoW?
I tried once upon a time, but
And you couldn't actually get into it. The segue works.
it does.
Up is
actually.
down, left is right.
Crazy.
Oh my god.
The highest level character I got was like level 35 before I just was like super done with this.
Yep, I'm with you. So tell the people about you. Where can they find you?
You can find me on the internet.
Yes.
The easiest way to find me is to follow me on Twitter at Kelsa. You can also follow me here on Twitch, twitch.tv/KelsaDelphi. I always host when I'm on other people's channels, which is most of what I do. I'm in 4 role-playing games a week, plus I play board games, plus I stream Overwatch when I still have time, which, considering the rest of my schedule, is not very often. So yeah, that's me.
Speaking about Booty Watch, let's head on over to our GM, Mr. Dr. Wreckage. Mr. Master Dr. Wreckage. Tell us about you.
Can we
man.
watch your booty?
Yes.
My booty is it's decent. I could put more
It's decent.
I could put more work into it.
I mean, true fact.
It has never let me down. You can follow me and hear about my booty on Twitter at Dr. Wreckage. It's right below my Game Master tag on the overlay. It's spelled exactly like that. Please follow me because I always tweet out when I am in a game mastering or playing. You can find me and Kelsa tomorrow, Friday,
Yeah.
on AP Gaming Reels channel. I'll be tweeting about that. We do a Mistborn game where I'm a player, and it's a lot of fun. I basically do exactly like Kelsa. I'm a player or a GM on a bunch of channels. My own channel will be starting up soon, but I'm not making any promises about that. When it does, it'll be mostly like GM prep for this game. Hey, that'll be fun to watch. But you'll find out about it on my Twitter just like everything else, so you should follow that.
Yeah.
Dave,
Hi.
why don't you tell everybody to follow because they had a good time, right?
Yeah, so thanks everyone for watching. I appreciate the hosts and the love and the support and the follows. Speaking about following, if you haven't done so already, consider hitting that follow button. It really helps us out and it supports the channel the best way possible by doing it for free. If you liked what you saw today, this is the first episode of Fulcrum, but we do actually have almost 400 hours of archived role-playing content over on my YouTube channel, and if videos aren't really your thing, we also have a podcast version of this as well over on the SoundCloud, which you can find on iTunes as well and all that shit. So, you know, it's there. So the next game that we'll have on Monday, 5 p.m. PST, we have Night City, which is a Cyberpunk 2020 campaign. We are building up to having Dear Fuzzy roll in to replace a character, so that's going to be fun. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And then Thursday is Fulcrum again, so yeah. I guess that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you very much for watching. And remember, if you get cut in half by Nazi moon laser beams and it gets superpowers...
It's canon. It's canon now.
It's
too late. Fucking canon.
Yeah.
Not a Nazi moon laser.
Then
beam.
all you need
Not
to
a-
do
then was
is
Nazi moon laser.
consult your
It is-
local Metamorphica and get full understanding of the powers.
No, it's not a Nazi moon laser. It's a Nazi moon particle beam.
It is not Nazi in any way, shape, or form. There are no Nazis. All the Nazis are dead forever. I've just removed them from the entire planet Earth as a result of your.
Okay,
Anyway.
so it's a Fourth Reich particle beam from the moon.
All right, we're going to leave. Goodbye, everyone.
Have a lovely night. Join us next week.